Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto saves Kushina from Danzo part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the vid. 5 years ago. The Kyubi no Yoko, nine-tailed demon fox, escaped from the confines of its second prison, the body of Uzumaki Kushina. It happened when Kushina was giving birth to her son, the father of whom was the Yandame Hokage, Namikaze Minato. Unknown to everyone but itself, Kyubi was perfectly happy living inside Kushina, and the two got along pretty well despite the circumstances. Kyubi was forcefully dragged out of the seal by a mysterious force and was forced to attack the village by that same force, a force it had not experienced since the first time Uchiha Madara summoned it to fight the Shodaime at the Valley of the End. In the end, Minato was forced to use the Shiki Fujin to seal Kyubi into Naruto, his newborn son. Kyubi in its state of bloodlust lunged a claw at baby Naruto, hoping to kill him before the seal could take effect. Using their remaining strength, Minato and Kushina sacrificed their lives to block the claw heading towards their child. After each of them said their final parting words, Minato once again said out loud that he wished the villagers would treat him as a hero. Fat load of good that did him. 5 years later. A 5-year-old Naruto panted as he ran through a maze of alleyways and corridors to escape the wrath of the mob that were hot on his tracks. Running as fast as his undeveloped legs could propel him, Naruto skidded around a corner and into a different alley. Luck was not on his side today as the alley ended in a dead end. Naruto looked around with wide eyes, hoping to catch a glimpse of anything that could save him. As a last-ditch effort, Naruto ran as far in as possible and pressed himself into the darkness of the corner in hope that the mob would not spot him. Alas, that was not to be. The mob advanced upon him with kunais drawn and other forms of improvised weaponry in hand. With a cry of anger, the mob fell upon young Naruto as they beat, stabbed, kicked, and slashed at him as if trying to maim him in every single way. All Naruto could do was cry and whimper quietly to himself as he either waited for the mob to leave or the ANBU to come to his rescue. What did I do to deserve this? Why do they come and hurt me? What did I do to them? Why am I called a demon when I clearly am human? Why me? Naruto thought before a particularly vicious blow to the back of his head caused him to black out. Mindscape. Drip. 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 Naruto groaned as he picked himself up before a blinding pain in his head caused him to stumble sideways, so he used the wall for support as the pain went away. Finally noticing his bizarre surroundings, Naruto sighed as he thought the villagers had thrown him in here. Great, now beating me senseless isn't enough, they had to go and threw my body into a sewer as well. Just freaking perfect. Naruto grumbled as he looked around for some signs of a way out. Come to me, boy. A loud voice boomed throughout the sewer, causing Naruto to panic and look around frantically as he tried to pinpoint the source of the voice. Where are you? Naruto asked quietly. Walk straight, and you will find the answers you seek, young one. And walk straight Naruto did. He walked until he came upon the strange sight of a large metal gate held closed by what looked to be a flimsy piece of paper with weird writing on it. Come closer, boy. Naruto shrugged as he walked closer to the bars and didn't even flinch back as a large blood-red paw slammed down right in front of him, using his eyes to trace the claw back into the cage to find a massive nine-tailed fox crouching behind the bars. Ha! Very interesting reaction, Kit. Even the mightiest of heroes had at least flinched in my presence, yet you do not do so. Very good. I take it that you are the same Kyubi no Yoko that attacked my village around 5 years ago? Naruto asked with a curious expression. Indeed, Kit, I am the same Kyubi from 5 years ago. Kyubi growled softly in response. If you are inside me, then the Yandame was not strong enough to kill you, so he did the next best thing, he sealed it into a child. And that child was me, am I right? You are smarter than you let others think, Kit. Yes, you are correct in your assumption. So that's the reason the villagers call me all those names and why they form mobs to try and kill me regularly. Naruto analyzed in a surprisingly calm voice, causing the Kyubi to look upon him confused. What do you mean by that, Kit? You don't know what happens outside the seal? Naruto asked in confusion. No, I only get the occasional fragment or memory. Now tell me what you meant. Better than that. I'm giving you access to all my senses and memories so you can view them for yourself. Just don't blame me if you can't sleep at night. Naruto answered in a cold tone. Kyubi went through all 5 years of his jailer's life in the span of 5 minutes, and to say that the demon was pissed would be saying that Jiraiya is a pervert. Huge understatement. And these are the people that have the gall to call me a demon. No demon in the right mind would ever harm a child, yet this people attempted to kill the kid numerous times. Hell, if what I saw was correct, the first assassination attempt was only 24 hours after the sealing. Kyubi growled to itself. Kit, I take it that you don't know who your parents are? Kyubi asked after contemplating for a few seconds. No, I asked Old Man Hokage a few times, but he just said that they were great ninjas and he would tell me when I am older. Naruto replied. Well, Kit, your mother was Uzumaki Kushina. She was a ninja from Yuzushiogakure, village hidden in the whirling tides, that was sent to Kanahigakure, village hidden in the leaves, to be my second jailer. Kyubi started off, causing Naruto to go wide-eyed at the information. Yes, Kit, you aren't the first Jinchuriki that held me, but that is a story for another time because if I remember correctly, time is of the essence since you are still being beaten outside of your mindscape. Now your father was the strongest shinobi in your village, he was Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime Hokage of your village. Naruto gaped at this as his brain ran on overtime as it tried to process this information. My father is the Yondaime? He sealed the Kyubi into his own son, why would he do that? Of course. Everyone said the Yondaime was an honorable man, so how could he ask someone to do something he wouldn't do himself? Kid, I know this may seem kind of rushed to you, but how would you like to have a Kekkai Genkai, bloodline limit? Kyubi growled in a tone that said hurry up and decide or we are both fucked, and not in the good way. What would I be able to do? Naruto asked instantly. To sum it up, you would be able to many things that ordinary ninjas can't do. Basically, levitate objects or people and you can throw them around, ability to sense living things, shoot lightning from your fingers and etc. I will explain more when we aren't in mortal danger. Fine, Kyubi, I accept your gift, now get us both out of this mess. Outside the mindscape. The mob backed away in fear as Naruto's body seemed to glow with energy. One of the villagers was about to shout something stupid before the energy exploded outwards in a wave. The impact of the wave caused many of the people to die instantly due to having their necks or spinal cords snapped. The remainder died when their bodies slammed into the sides of the alley. This was the scene Naruto woke up to barely a minute later, panicking slightly since he didn't have an excuse for what happened. He calmed down when he heard Kyubi's voice. Run back to your apartment, Kit. When the old monkey questions you, just tell him that I took over you as precautionary measures since you were about to die. Hi, Kyubi-san. Naruto thought in his mind before running in the general direction of his apartment block that the Hokage had purchased for him after he was kicked out of the orphanage at 4. Don't call me, San, it makes me feel older than I am. Hi, Kyubi. Once he had reached home, Naruto made sure his door and windows were locked securely before sighing and turning in for the night. Mindscape once more. Hey Kyubi, what kind of bloodline allows me to do all those things you told me about? Naruto asked with barely contained excitement. Well, sit down first, Kit. This is going to be a rather long explanation, Kyubi said before waiting until Naruto settled in comfortably. Now tell me, Kit, what do you know about chakra? Well, the old man once told me that it was what allowed ninjas to perform their jutsus as well as other impossible stuff such as walking on water. Naruto replied almost instantly. That's a rather basic explanation there, Kit. Okay, let me explain it fully. Chakra is a mixture of the physical energy present in every cell of your body, and the spiritual energy gained from exercise and experience. Once mixed, it can be channeled through the chakra circulatory system, which is to chakra as the regular circulatory system is to blood, to any of the 361 chakra points, called tenketsu, in the body. Through various methods, the most common of which is hand seals, the chakra can then be manipulated to create an effect that would not be possible otherwise, such as walking on water, exhaling fire, or creating illusions. So what does this have to do with my bloodline, Kyubi? Naruto had a puzzled look on his face. I'm coming to that, Kit. Now chakra is not only in our bodies but in the environment around us. Every living thing from humans to animals, even trees, have their own chakra. Chakra from the environment is known as nature chakra, but we aren't here to talk about that. Kyubi chuckled at the pout on the young child's face. There is something else in the environment around us. It surrounds us along with the entire planet and binds us together. This universal phenomenon is known as the unifying force or simply as the force. Humans were once able to wield this power, but their bodies evolved to be able to use chakra and lost the ability to use the force. Wow, this force thingy sounds great, Kyubi! Naruto shouted excitedly. Yes, it does, doesn't it? Now the bloodline I gave you alters your chakra network so it still allows you to use chakra but also grants you the ability to use the force. Kyubi began but was cut off by an excited whoop of joy courtesy of our young blonde Jinchuriki. Now I know you are excited, but to wield this kind of power requires lots of training, sometimes even years. At this statement, Naruto seemed to deflate for a total of 5 seconds before bouncing back onto his feet with a determined glare leveled at Kyubi. I don't care if I have to train for 10 years. I will show you and everyone what I am capable of, and then finally everyone will respect me. And then Naruto trailed off, as his voice took on a darker tone. Those who have crossed me before will suffer my wrath. Kyuubi felt a pleasant shudder run up its spine at the tone that Naruto used. Maybe, just maybe, he will be the one for me, only the years will tell. Well, kid, as a reward for your determination, I will teach you a jutsu that will speed up the process for you to reach your goal. Kyuubi grinned as Naruto looked confused. Ah no, Kyuubi, don't you need fingers to perform the hand seals for various jutsus? Right you are, kid, however I never said that this was my only form. With that said, a blinding crimson light surrounded Kyuubi before it died down to reveal a beautiful female standing where the giant fox was only a few seconds ago. The woman was definitely the most beautiful person Naruto had ever seen, with flowing blood-red hair that fell to her perfect firm butt and a generous bust that, while bigger than average, wasn't too much as well. She had a body that every woman in the world would kill for, curves in all the right places and long slender-toned legs. The only things that signified who she was were the 9 blood-red tails that seemed to emerge from her ass, the pair of white-tipped fox ears on her head, and her slitted crimson pupils. Needless to say, Naruto had a massive blush on his face due to the fact that the demoness in front of him was completely naked. It definitely didn't help that she had smirked at him sexily. Does Naruto like what he sees? Kyuubi cooed as she pressed her assets together to give him a better view. All Naruto could do was nod. Kyuubi snapped her fingers and she was instantly clothed in a black kimono with a picture of herself in her demon form on the back. Good, now the jutsu I'm about to teach you is dangerous for normal shinobi, but you on the other hand are the perfect candidate to draw out its full potential. Hi Kyuubi-sensei, so what's the jutsu? The jutsu is called Kaigebushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique, and is labeled a kinjutsu in your village's forbidden scroll due to the high cost of chakra it takes to create even one. Kaigebushins are solid clones of their creator but dispel in one hit. Now this is the aspect of shadow clones that will help. The clones remember everything they did, and upon destruction these memories are passed back to the creator. And can you imagine how many clones you can create with your huge chakra reserves? That means if whatever the clones learn in its lifespan I will get retained it after it disperses, so it shortens the duration by at least half for every clone I set to the same task, Naruto mused to himself as the Kyuubi looked dumbfounded at the analytical skills of the 5-year-old child in front of her. Alright Kyuubi-sensei, I understand the advantages of this technique now, so can you teach it to me? Before I do that, kid, there is a downside to this technique, and that is the memory feedback. If you dispel too many clones at one time, the memory backlash will knock you out cold, and could result in damage to your brain. Do you understand what I am trying to tell you? Kyuubi asked seriously, and Naruto nodded his head eagerly. Form this hand seal with your hands and channel your chakra into through it before shouting out the name of the technique. Naruto immediately formed the cross-shaped hand seal and channeled as much of his chakra as possible at his current age before shouting out the name of the technique. Kaigebushin no Jutsu. Numerous poofs of smoke filled the entire sewer as Kyuubi looked unimpressed as several hundred chibi Narutos cheered at the successful attempt of their new jutsu. Taking what Kyuubi had told him to heart, Naruto slowly dismissed the clones 10 at a time every 20 seconds. Kyuubi-sensei, are you going to teach me how to use the force thingy you told me about? Naruto looked at her hopefully, but Kyuubi shook her head. All in due time, Naruto, and now it's time for you to get some rest since you have classes tomorrow. Don't forget the excuse I told you to use when the old monkey questions you about the incident, she said, causing Naruto nod in understanding as he slowly faded out from the mindscape. Kyuubi sighed as she looked around before coming to a sudden realization. Son of a... I can't believe I forgot to ask the kid to change the mindscape. Naruto's dream. Naruto blinked as he looked around confused. After leaving the mindscape, he didn't expect to appear in some strange forest that resembled Konoha's forest. Since standing still didn't serve him any purpose, Naruto took a slow step forward as he prepared for any nasty surprises. After 5 minutes of this careful approach, he deduced that if there was any threat in the forest, it would have appeared already. Hello? Is anyone else here? Naruto called out to the seemingly empty forest, and not really expecting an answer, so imagine his surprise when a voice replied from deeper within the forest. Come to us, youngling, we have much to discuss with the only force-sensitive person on this force-forsaken ball of dirt. Who are you? Where are you? Naruto shouted back at the voice. Deja vu. All you questions will be answered when you find us, youngling. Just follow the sound of my voice, okay? That sounded really cheesy, but just trust me, alright? The voice seemed to emanate from a particular point in the forest, so Naruto decided to take a risk as he walked in that direction. The trees and plants seemed to get denser the further and he walked in that direction. Naruto broke into a sprint as he was getting annoyed by all the foliage. Shit! He screamed as he tripped over a thick root and was sent tumbling down the slope of a hill. Naruto curled up to prevent unnecessary injuries as he continued his roll/tumble down the hill. While Naruto groaned after he finally came to a stop at the bottom of the hill, he opened his eyes to find two cloaked figures sitting around a campfire observing him. "What are you looking at?" "I see you finally made it, youngling, though you did use a peculiar way to find your way into our lovely encampment," the second figure chuckled as Naruto huffed as he stood up and dusted himself off. "Who the hell are you two and why am I here? Isn't it common courtesy to give one's own name before demanding it from others?" the first figure asked, causing Naruto to pause as he thought about it. "I guess so. My name is Yuzuwate Namike Zuzumaki Naruto, and I'm the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Yoko." "Well then, I guess you can call me Darth Revan." The first figure chuckled at Naruto's confused look as he threw back his cloak to reveal a black and red helmet. "And my name is Galen Merrick," the second figure said as he threw back his cloak to reveal a close-shaved head and battle-hardened features on his face, but somehow retaining a kind smile. "Why am I here and why do you guys have such weird names?" "You see, young Naruto, we aren't from your planet. No, we are not aliens. Let's just say that a long time ago, the galaxy used to be a bigger place, alright?" Revan sighed when he saw that he had lost Naruto. "It's not important, alright. What is important is that you are the first Force-sensitive person in a long time, and Galen and I were once the most powerful Force users in the galaxy. So we decided to pass on our legacies to you, youngling, as well as teach you how to fully master your powers." "Sweet, I got 3 totally awesome people teaching me. I can't wait to begin my training now." Naruto cheered excitedly as he bounced around the campsite. "The first thing about controlling your Force power is," Revan paused for dramatic tension as Naruto looked on with an excited expression. "Meditating." Revan and Galen couldn't help but burst out laughing at Naruto since his face had went from excited to eating dirt at the mention of meditation. Naruto jumped back to his feet as he glared at the laughing pair. "I hate you." Last time on Naruto, Force Unleashed. "The first thing about controlling your Force power is," Revan paused for dramatic tension as Naruto looked on with an excited expression. "Meditating." Revan and Galen couldn't help but burst out laughing at Naruto since his face had went from excited to eating dirt at the mention of meditation. Naruto jumped back to his feet as he glared at the laughing pair. "I hate you." Present time, 5 hours after Naruto started training with Revan and Galen. Naruto could be seen sitting cross-legged on a smooth gray rock in the middle of the stream in a meditative position. Revan and Galen simply observed from the side. Naruto tried to do as Revan had told him. He slowed down his breathing as he spread out his newfound awareness of the life around him. "Steady my breathing and heartbeat, don't let anything distract me, but at the same time remain aware of my surroundings. Stretch out with my awareness, and try to sense the Force flowing in and around all living things." Naruto chanted in his head as the rocks and pebbles in the stream suddenly started to levitate due to an unknown force. Revan looked on amazed while Galen was gobsmacked. He had taken a week to get that down while normal Padawans took a month of training, but Naruto had done it in 5 hours. "Naruto, you may open your eyes now," Revan stated simply, and as soon as Naruto opened his eyes, the levitating objects fell back into the stream with soft plops. He sensed Revan's good mood and had seen Galen's shocked face, so he assumed that he had done it correctly. "Revan-sensei, what do I have to accomplish next?" Naruto asked calmly. Revan noted this may be a side effect of the meditation, as Naruto seemed to be less brash and more composed. "That's it for now, Naruto, since it's about time for you to awake. Since you were meditating, your body had experienced the similar effects of a good night's sleep, so you don't have to worry about that." Galen replied instead as the young boy nodded before disappearing from the rock. "I can sense greatness in that one, Revan." "So do I, but as you know, power corrupts, and we can only hope that Naruto does not succumb to the temptations of the dark side of the Force," Revan sighed, as he seemed to relive memories of his lifelong past. Naruto's home. Naruto yawned loudly as he stretched and rubbed the sleep from his eyes before hopping off his bed and into the shower for a quick bath. Making his way out of the bathroom just 5 minutes later, he then realized that there was someone in his kitchen. Stealthily making his way to the kitchen, he was relieved that it only turned out to be the Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Ohio Naruto-kun, am I right in assuming that you have yet to eat your breakfast?" he said in a grandfatherly tone. "Ohio Gigi. Nope, I just woke up and was going to grab a quick bite before heading to the academy." Naruto grinned but inwardly sighed as the Hokage didn't seem to see through the act. "How about I treat you to some Ichiraku's ramen for breakfast, Naruto-kun, what do you say?" "Yada! Free ramen for breakfast, thanks Gigi. You're the best." Naruto shouted but inwardly groaned. "Dear Kami! Acting this obnoxious is seriously getting on my nerves." The Hokage and Naruto made their way to the ramen stand before sitting down and telling the chef their respective orders. Naruto saw from the corner of his eye that the Hokage was about to say something. Naruto-kun, where were you last night? Well, Gigi, I was on the way home when those mean people started to chase me around the village again, so I ran away from them. I ran for half an hour before I turned into a dead end, and the people started to hurt me before I fainted when a burning sensation spread across my skin. Naruto recalled with tear-filled eyes and a quivering lower lip to add to the effect. Damn, I'm good. The Best Actor award goes to Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. It's going to be alright, Naruto-kun. I promise once you become a ninja that all these things will stop. Hiruzen comforted the child while his mind raced through the possibilities. It seemed young Naruto really didn't know what happened. The only logical reason is that the Kyuubi took over as a failsafe to protect him. You promise, Gigi? Then I'm going to be the best ninja ever. Databeo. And when I'm strong enough, I will take that hat from you, Gigi. Just watch me, I am going to be the best Hokage ever, Databeo. Naruto boasted as he pumped a fist into the air. I feel like killing myself now, but I understand what Revan-sensei meant by hiding my skills. I'm sure you will, Naruto-kun. Now run along. I'm sure Irika is already starting to look for you since classes started 15 minutes ago. Hiruzen said as Naruto nodded his head enthusiastically before slurping down the remainder of his ramen and leapt off the stool in the direction of the academy. Irika's class. Class, who can tell me what the Irika's question was interrupted by the slamming open of a door. Standing in the doorway was a panting and grinning Naruto. Sorry, Irika-sensei. The Hokage wanted to talk to me about something over breakfast but forgot about the time. Naruto managed to get out between breaths. That's alright, Naruto. Just take a seat while I continue on with my lesson. Irika sighed as Naruto thanked him before taking a seat between two of his classmates. Since Naruto failed the academy 3 times, this is his classmates during his first-year attempt. Before I was interrupted, who can tell me what the bloodline of the Shodaime Hokage was and what it could do? Irika asked, but Naruto tuned it out and focused on his force meditation instead. Wow, it's like I can sense where everybody is by their force presence. It seems like everyone has their own feel in the force. It's almost like seeing with your eyes closed. Naruto thought as he suddenly sensed an incoming object through his force awareness before reaching out a hand to catch the incoming duster with his eyes still closed. How, who, what? When Irika stumbled over his own words as his jaw along with everyone else's was hanging off the hinges at the amazing feat. Naruto, how did you manage to catch that without looking? That's simple, I'm just that awesome. Naruto exclaimed loudly, causing 90% of the class to face fault while the remainder sweat dropped at the retarded answer. Never mind that now, just tell me what the Shodaime's bloodline was and what it could do. Irika asked after he had recovered, causing Naruto to scratch his head sheepishly. And it was something to do with plants or trees, right? He could make them appear from nowhere like magic. He was awesome. Naruto replied with his dobe mask in place. Close but not really correct. The Shodaime's bloodline was the Mokuton, wood release, and it allowed him to grow wood or vines from the ground or even turn parts of his body into wood to attack the enemy. Irika corrected with a sigh as he continued with the lesson, which Naruto tuned out again but this time meditated with his eyes open. Ohio Kit. A voice suddenly said, which almost caused Naruto to jump out of his sit before realizing that only one person called him that. Ohio Q-chan. Naruto greeted in return, which caused said demoness to blush at the additional suffix before mentally grinning. Oh, Q-chan now, is it? Whatever happened to Kyuubi-sensei? Kyuubi asked with a pout evident in her tone. During training I will refer to you as such, but since we aren't training I don't have to call you that. Naruto replied with a smirk before he remembered something. Hey Q-chan. Last night I had a strange dream after leaving the mindscape. Well Kit, did it have to do with us performing lewd acts together? Kyuubi asked as she snickered when Naruto's face turned so red it started to look like an apple. No. I was in a forest and met up with these 2 cloaked figures and they introduced themselves as Darth Revan and Galen Merrick. Naruto was interrupted by sharp gasp from his tenant. Do you know them, Q-chan? Yes I do, Kit. Both of them were once the strongest warriors in the universe. Legend claimed that Galen Merrick, also known as Starkiller, was so strong in the force that he managed to drag down a spaceship the size of Konoha. Am I right in the proportion? While Darth Revan was the strongest Sith Lord in his time, his control over the force was unmatched by anyone. Naruto was speechless after hearing that. He had a teacher that could levitate the entire village with his control over the force. It was then that Naruto made a promise to himself that he would train diligently so he could make his masters proud as well as be a force to be reckoned with. So what did they want with you, Kit? Kyuubi suddenly asked. They said I was the only force-sensitive individual on this planet, and they were going to train me to be a continuation of their legacies. Naruto took the stunned silence as shock, so he continued. Revan-sensei and Galen-sensei taught me how to tap into the force by meditating, and I succeeded after 5 hours of continuous practice. It would have been sooner if I used the Kagebushin no Jutsu, but Revan-sensei told me that there was no shortcuts to real power. Kyubi damn near fainted when she heard that Naruto completed the meditation exercise just 5 hours after starting and without the aid of his shadow clones. She pondered this new revelation for a moment before she came up with a great plan. Since I am not very adept at using the force, and you have 2 legends teaching you about it, I have a plan to maximize your training potential, Kyubi said as Naruto perked up instantly at the word training. When you are awake, you will train in chakra control exercise as well as taijutsu, since your hand-to-hand is almost non-existent. When you are asleep, you will spend the first 4 hours with me learning about ninjutsu, genjutsu, as well as some other ninja and demon skills. The next 4 will be spent with Revan and Galen in controlling the force. Sounds like a great plan, Q-chan, but how am I going to cover up my growth as well as my skills? Well, Kit, why don't you just send a reinforced Kagebushin to take your place at the academy every day so you can maximize the time for training that you have? Have the Kagebushin act like the old you as well as have the skills you had before, Kyubi suggested, which caused Naruto to almost face fault at the simplicity of the answer. Once class had ended, Naruto bolted right out the door of the classroom so he could begin his training as soon as possible. Naruto ran until he found an empty training ground that looked like it has hardly been used by anyone. After a few laps around the training ground to warm up, Naruto asked Kyubi what he should start on first. Well, Kit, since you have an enormous pool of chakra at your disposal, this would make your chakra control pretty much fucked up, so I would recommend you start on chakra control exercises first, Kyubi replied as she thought about it some more. The first exercise is tree walking. You have to channel the correct amount of chakra into your foot so you will stick to the surface of the tree. Too much and you will blast off, but too little and your foot will slide off, so it's all a matter of finding the correct amount. Alright, Kyubi-sensei, I'm going to begin training now, Naruto thought as he formed the familiar cross-shaped hand seal and shouted out. Kagebushin no Jutsu. Several hundred poofs resonated around the training ground as 300 Narutos appeared around him. Naruto looked slightly winded but was otherwise fine. Alright troops, I want 200 of you to work on the tree climbing exercise, and when one of you manages to make it at least halfway up, I want you to dispel. The other 100 I want to spar with one another with your eyes closed so we can get the hang of listening to our force senses. Now get to it! Naruto ordered as his clones snapped off a high boss, before setting off to their respective tasks, while Naruto himself started with his physical training to build up his muscles. He spent the entire afternoon doing physical exercises, from running laps around the training grounds to sit-ups, push-ups and chin-ups. Eventually the sun started to set and Naruto was completely exhausted. You could see the labored breathing of the young boy as he lay flat down in the middle of the field. With a mental command, Naruto carefully dismissed his clones in groups of 25s every 25 seconds so he wouldn't suffer any backlash. Gathering up his remaining energy, Naruto placed one foot on the trunk of a nearby tree before taking another step up and then another, which was followed by another. Before he knew it, he was at the top of the tree overlooking the entire training ground. Naruto gave a small smile at his accomplishment before carefully navigating his way down the tree and trudged back to his apartment for his nightly training. Mindscape. Good job today, Kit. You completely mastered the tree walking exercise in one day. That's something you can be proud of. Now it's time for ninjutsu theory. Kyubi praised him before getting down to business. Tell me, what are the 5 main chakra natures that your chakra can have an affinity to? Well, sensei, I have seen a bunch of ninjutsu techniques before, so I would say there would be fire, earth, and water. I'm not sure what the other 2 natures are though, Naruto said in a depressed tone, thinking he had failed his sensei. No need to be sad, Kit. I don't expect you to know all these things yet. Now you were right for those 3 elements, the other 2 would be wind and lightning. Kyubi smiled at Naruto, who was listening attentively. Fire is an offensive element. Earth is mainly defensive but can be offensive as well. Water is a balanced element with both offensive and defensive techniques, while wind and lightning are primarily offensive as well, though wind can be used as a defense in certain situations. I understand, sensei, but what element is my chakra aligned with? Naruto asked after listening to Kyubi's explanation. From what I have observed from your chakra, you seem to have a godly affinity towards wind, but to make sure, I suggest you steal some chakra paper from your Hokage tomorrow. Chakra paper is a special type of paper that channels your chakra and tells you what element you have an affinity to. If it is fire, it will burn. Water, and it will turn soggy. Wind causes it to split in half, earth causes it to turn to dust, while lightning causes it to crumple up. So what are we going to be doing now, Kyubi-sensei? Well, Kit, since we don't know your chakra affinity yet, I guess I will be teaching you how to use killing intent, KI, to aid you in your battles. Killing intent can do anything from causing your enemy to hesitate for a second to causing total fear-induced paralysis. Right now you won't be able to summon much due to your age, but will be able to do so when you are older. QB explained as she flicked his forehead, causing him to pout cutely. You can summon your Ki just by thinking about something that makes you very angry and direct it at your opponent via your eyes, or you can release it over a wide area. Now I want you to try. Naruto had no trouble doing so as he remembered all the harsh words, the angry glares, and being kicked out of almost every shop. QB nodded in approval as she sensed a small dose of Ki leaking out from Naruto. That's good enough, Kit, you can stop now. She told him, but Naruto seemed unresponsive. Every birthday they come together to chase me, and when they catch me they start to beat me. Why do they do that? Why doesn't anyone stop it? No more, never again. Next time it happens I will crush them. Naruto roared in his mind as a huge blast of Ki shot out from him in multiple waves. It was so strong it even caused Kyubi to stumble a bit. Kit, stop. Kit! Naruto! There's no one here that is going to hurt you. Kyubi shouted as she hugged the young boy to herself and calmly stroking his hair. Calm down, Naruto, nobody is going to hurt you anymore. I promise I will protect you, okay? I will never leave you. This seemed to work as the killing intent seemed to disappear as Naruto cried into her shoulder, as she continued whispering comforting words into his ears until he stopped crying. Arigato Q-chan, sorry I let it get out of hand like that. Naruto apologized as he wiped away his remaining tears, causing Kyubi to give a small smile. It wasn't your fault, Kit. I shouldn't have let you relive those bad memories. I'll spend the rest of the time here teaching you about your mother and father. Come and sit here. Kyubi motioned for him to sit beside her, and Naruto complied as she began to tell him about his parents. 4 hours later. Remember, Kit, if you have any questions regarding your parents, just ask me and I will answer as best as I can. Now go meet up with your other 2 teachers. I believe they are expecting you. Kyubi told him as he nodded and faded away. Naruto appeared in the familiar campsite where the 2 force users were already sitting there waiting for him. He walked over to them and sat down. Masters, what training do you have for me now? Today's exercise is for you to consciously levitate this rock with your force powers only. Just remember that the force flows through and around everything, including yourself. Learn to harmonize with it, and you will be able to bend it to your will. Imagine the rock floating and it will do so. Revan demonstrated as he motioned with just one finger, and a tree trunk the size of Naruto shot off into the forest. You will need to use your whole hand at first. With training comes experience, and then you will be able to perform it like Revan or I can. Galen said as he too levitated a rock the size of an average human with 2 fingers before opening his other palm to show a rock the size of a snail. You will be using this for now. Naruto took the offered rock and sat down in his usual cross-legged position with the rock in his palm. He stared at the rock intently as he tried to imagine the force around it. Half an hour later we find Naruto still in the same position with the rock in his palm. Master, this is impossible. I concentrated like you said, but the damn thing won't budge. Naruto exclaimed in frustration, causing Revan to smirk under his mask. So much like me when I was learning to harness the force as well. He thought before speaking. Nothing is impossible before the force, young Naruto. Be patient, and you will have the result you desire. Do not think that this is something that can be done in a snap of your fingers. It takes hard work to get it done. Hi, I understand, Master. Naruto said as he went back to the task at hand. Okay, imagine the force flowing in and around you like a strong river flow. Get the feel of it, and learn to move with it. The force is my ally, so I must flow along with it instead of pushing against the current. 2 hours later of repeating the mantra in his head, the rock in his palm seemed to wobble a bit to the left, and then to the right before slowly lifting off his palm and into the air. Naruto smiled as both his teachers clapped at his accomplishment. Very good, Naruto, this is the first step for you to become a master of the force. Now I want you to do the same thing you did with the rock to this. Revan gestured to significantly larger rock the size of Naruto himself. Remember how you felt, and that size does not matter in the presence of the force. Naruto licked his lips as he once again submerged his entire self into the flow of the force as he felt it move around his body. He then directed it around the rock as he lifted his arm up slowly. The large rock shifted to the side slowly before hovering at least half a meter of the ground. Naruto panted as he let it drift back down slowly before slumping over from exhaustion. Revan and Galen smiled as Naruto gave them a thumbs up before he fainted. Revan turned towards Galen. He truly is one of a kind, don't you agree, Galen? He asked the younger looking of the two, who simply nodded his head. They sat there in silence as they observed the sleeping child on the ground in front of them. Naruto licked his lips as he once again submerged his entire self into the flow of the force as he felt it move around his body. He then directed it around the rock as he lifted his arm up slowly. The The large rock shifted to the side slowly before hovering at least half a meter of the ground. Naruto panted, as he let it drift back down slowly before slumping over from exhaustion. Revan and Galen smiled as Naruto gave them a thumbs up before he fainted. Revan turned towards Galen. "He truly is one of a kind, don't you agree, Galen?" he asked the younger looking of the two, who simply nodded his head. They sat there in silence as they observed the sleeping child on the ground in front of them. 3 years later. "Ha! You'll never catch me, suckers!" An orange-clad young boy shouted back at the team of masked ANBU members chasing him. "Boy, by the orders of the Lord Hokage, we were ordered to bring you to him for painting the entire Hyuga estate neon pink in color." A bare mask ANBU shouted back while snickers could be heard coming from the rest of the squad as they thought it was hilarious that someone managed to prank the all-seeing eyes of the Hyuga clan. "Hey, they had it coming for a long time. Now leave me alone so I can go and get some ramen to eat." Naruto waved at them merrily as he seemed to speed up before colliding with a loud oof with somebody in front of him. After rubbing his head, Naruto looked up into the frowning visage of one Yumino Iruka. "Hey Iruka-sensei. I was just on my way to class." "That's it, I was just on my way there when they started chasing me." "Naruto, you aren't fooling anybody, so drop the charade and come along." Iruka chastised the boy as he dragged him away to class as the rest of the ANBU squad disappeared to inform the Hokage. None of them saw a shadow observing their every movement during the chase. The shadow moved and revealed the face of a grinning Naruto. "You say that, Iruka-san, but you don't even notice that isn't the real me. Has standards for ninjas always been this low?" He chuckled slightly as he threw a hood over his head to obscure his face from the public. "Naruto, you should know that not everyone has such advanced senses as yours, and only you have force powers." Kyubi's voice echoed through his head. "I know, Kyuchan, but I thought an ex-ANBU such as Iruka-san would at least be better than this," Naruto retorted lightly as he stealthily made his way to the training grounds he had been using for the past 3 years. He ran through a series of hand seals before slamming both his palms onto the ground. Ninpu, Oto Fujin Shihiki no Jutsu. Ninja Art, Sound Silencing Barrier Technique. Alright Naruto, now that nobody can hear you, I want to see what you have learned so far over the past 3 years. Start off with ninja techniques before moving on to force techniques, Kyubi told him. Whatever you say, Kyuchan. Naruto cracked his neck before walking on top of the water of a nearby stream whilst balancing a kunai on each fingertip and rotating them in a clockwise direction. After a minute or so of doing that, he suddenly flung all the kunai into the air and quickly drew out 10 shuriken and flinging them all at once. 10 sparks appeared in the air, signifying that all 10 shuriken had hit the 10 aerial kunai, causing them to alter their cause in midair and head towards Naruto. He just smirked as the kunai headed towards his body but suddenly veered off course when they came within half a meter of him. Futon, Fujin no Yora. Wind Release, Armor of the Wind God, Naruto whispered with a grin as the previously invisible wind armor phased into existence. The armor made it look like there was a mini hurricane over each of Naruto's limbs while numerous wind blades swirled around his form in a repetitive cycle. Naruto shivered slightly as he remembered just how many times he had injured himself when creating this particular jutsu. Kagebushin no Jutsu. He shouted as 1,000 clouds of smoke appeared around the training grounds and drifted away, revealing 1,000 grinning Narutos. The clones charged at the original in groups of 2s to 3s as the original took on a strange taijutsu stance as he started to engage the oncoming clones. Naruto weaved in and around his opponent's attack as he used the force to sense incoming attacks, which he avoided with his ninja reflexes. Naruto started to counterattack with a barrage of punches and kicks made all the more deadly by the presence of the Fujin no Yoroi. A huge group of clones started to charge in from the east. Naruto sensed them easily and ran through several hand seals before taking a deep breath. Futon de Tapa. Wind Release, Great Breakthrough. He shot out a huge burst of air that slammed into the rushing clones and dispelled them instantly. The clones started attacking in larger groups as they tried to overwhelm their creator. Naruto sensed all of the remaining clones rushing towards him in a last-bit effort to disable him. Time to say goodbye, clones. Naruto tapped into the force as he felt it flow around him like a calm river. He started pulling all the force in the surrounding area towards him. This resulted in causing the charging clones to get yanked into a gravitational orbit around Naruto, as he clenched his fists tightly before throwing his arms outward. Gekutai Sa Seru. Force Repulse. The stored-up force energy immediately blasted outward in a huge wave and blew back all the clones in a massive explosion of force energy. Naruto panted slightly from the sudden expenditure of the force. He grinned despite himself and stumbled back onto his ass. How's that for going all out? Naruto asked aloud, knowing Kyubi would still be able to hear him. Very impressive, Naruto. Now I believe it is lunchtime, and you should take a break after that spar. Kyubi replied in a proud tone as Naruto nodded in agreement. He sprang back onto his feet and steadied himself for a few seconds before walking towards his home so he could cook himself something to eat. Naruto had realized that he could not live off ramen, so he decided to take up cooking as a pastime, and he found out that he was apparently very good at it. After a quiet lunch of rice and fish, Naruto sat down on the floor as he meditated to enter the forest as he had started to call it. Within the forest. Hello there, young Naruto, I have been waiting for you. Revan smiled behind his mask at the confused look on the boy's face. Why were you waiting for me, Revan-sensei? And where is Galen-sensei? Naruto asked, puzzled. Galen is preoccupied with something. Naruto, during the past 3 years we have trained you in all we know, and as a reward for all your hard work and diligence, we both have something for you. Revan replied, causing Naruto's eyes to widen since he never received any form of present from his masters before. I sense that Galen is back with your gift. I, on the other hand, have 3 gifts for you. Revan announced as Galen walked into the campsite with something held behind his back. Would you like to go first, Galen? All right. I believe that you have earned this, Naruto, for giving your all in training. Happy birthday. Galen said as he handed Naruto a cylindrical object with an engraved hilt. Naruto felt his eyes widen for 2 reasons, the first one being that he had forgotten today was his birthday. Second being that the object handed to him by his master was a lightsaber. He never thought he would own such a legendary weapon. Arigato, Galen-sensei. Naruto stammered out as he accepted the weapon into his hands. Galen gave him a nod to activate it, and he did so with a snap hiss of the blade. Naruto marveled at the pearl-white blade that emitted from the nozzle of the cylinder. The blade itself was white as snow with a black glow around it. It's beautiful, Master Galen. I will cherish it always. Come here, Naruto, it's time for my gifts. Revan beckoned him over with a gloved hand. Naruto obediently moved over as Revan too handed him a lightsaber. Naruto took it into his hands and ignited it with another snap hiss. The blade this time was black as midnight with a menacing red glow about it. It seemed to scream danger to anyone who saw it. It's amazing as well, Master Revan. I will guard it with my life. Naruto bowed as Revan pet his head. Naruto, the next 2 gifts are linked to one another. I want you to wear my armor and take my name when I am gone. Revan crouched in front of Naruto as he looked him from eye to visor. Promise me, Naruto. But where are you going to? Naruto asked uncertainly as Revan and Galen shared a sad glance before sighing and turning back to Naruto. We are finally going to join our family and friends as one in the unifying force. Naruto started to tear up as he let out a soft sob as he didn't expect the 2 men who had trained him from 3 years ago to be gone from his life so suddenly. Revan and Galen brought him into a 3-way hug as they comforted the boy they had begun to see as a younger brother. I know it's hard, Naruto, but we have delayed ourselves long enough, and in the end we are all a part of the force, so I want you to promise me, Naruto, take my armor and continue my legacy. Revan told him softly as Naruto wiped away his tears and nodded once. I promise, Revan-sensei, I will miss you guys a lot, Naruto admitted as the 2 men had similar smiles though you could not see Revan's one. Goodbye, Naruto, and may the force be with you. They said in unison as their bodies seemed to fade away into blue particles that swirled around Naruto once before floating away into the forest. Naruto just stood there as he felt a sudden surge in his force power before he too faded out from the forest for the last time. Mindscape. Kyuubi was lying on her bed reading a random book Naruto had generated inside of the mindscape. Apparently Naruto had turned the sewer-like place into a 2-story house around 2 years ago. The book was about a knight who battled against numerous monsters and demons to regain his honor, and ended with him succeeding the current ruler of the kingdom, and marrying the princess before living happily ever after. Where's my happily ever after? Am I just a demon for someone to kill so they can marry a princess? Kyuubi thought as she sighed before flinging the book into the corner of the room. Well, what's wrong with the book? A familiar voice called out as she turned her head and saw an amused-looking Naruto holding up the book she had thrown. Overused plotline, Kyuubi joked with a small smile before she seemed to notice the somber aura around Naruto. Hey, what happened? Revan-sensei and Galen-sensei have gone on to join the force. He finally said as his voice cracked as tears threatened his vision once again. I promised Revan-sensei that I would continue his legacy, and I intend to do so. They must have taught you everything they knew already and believed you would advance from there on your own 2 feet. Kyuubi reasoned as Naruto nodded and sniffed while he wiped away the moisture from his eyes. I guess you're right, Kyuchan, Naruto sighed as he fiddled with the switch of his lightsaber, catching Kyuubi's interest. They left you a lightsaber? 2 lightsabers, 1 from each of them. Naruto corrected as he thumbed both of them to life, 1 blackish-white blade and 1 reddish-black blade. Naruto swung them in a few basic strokes while Kyuubi watched the deadly light show the blades seemed to weave. He eventually thumbed them off as he slumped onto the bed. You must miss them already. Kyubi voiced his thoughts aloud as she pulled him into a hug as the tears he held back started to fall as his shoulders shook with every gasp of air he took. I can't believe they're gone, he cried onto Kyubi's shoulder, as she rubbed his back soothingly until the tears finally died down as he brought himself back under control. Thanks, Kyu-chan. Anytime, Naruto-kun, it's normal to hurt when you lose someone that is precious to you. Kyubi released him from her hold as she unconsciously noted that she had felt complete with Naruto in her arms. Promise me you won't leave me, Kyu-chan. I don't think I would be able to continue on if I lost you too, he admitted as he looked at the demoness beside him, who flicked him on the forehead with 2 fingers. Baka, didn't I promise you that I would never leave you? Why don't you meditate? It looks like you could use it to clear the depressing thoughts from your mind, Kyubi suggested. I think so too. Naruto went into the lotus position as he closed his eyes, once again clearing his mind of all thoughts and synchronized with the force flow around him. He could sense the presence of Kyubi beside him before spreading out his awareness across the entire village when he was suddenly hit with a powerful jolt in the force. Naruto's eyes snapped wide open as he clutched his chest with his hand, causing Kyubi to look at him worried. I sense a disturbance in the force. It sounded like multiple cries of terror before they suddenly vanished from the force altogether, he said in a disturbed tone before fading from the mindscape and appearing back in his apartment. He saw a storage scroll in his lap that wasn't there before. He quickly unsealed it to reveal his 2 lightsabers and a modified version of Revan's armor and cloak. In a split-second decision, Naruto decided this would be a good time for the legend of Darth Revan to make itself known once more. He tore off his clothes in a second and started to don the armor of his deceased mentor. He stood in front of a mirror and for a moment, he thought he was looking at his mentor. Due to all the physical training Naruto had been doing for the past 3 years, he now stood at an impressive 1.6 m for his age and was built solidly but not overly so. The armor's color scheme seemed to have been altered since the plates were now completely black with red trims and the visor was now a glaring crimson. Damn, I look cool. Now I know why Revan-sensei always chose to wear his armor around all the time, either that or the fact he didn't have any clothes under it, Naruto thought before he threw the black hood of his cloak over his helmeted head and vanished in a swirl of leaves. Uchiha District. Sasuke had a smile on his face as he raced back home after the academy had ended. He had aced his test and couldn't wait to tell his parents and Itachi. He cheerfully greeted the Pocky store owner on his way back. He never knew what his brother found so enjoyable about the snack. As he rounded the corner leading to the clan grounds, he paused as he sensed that something wasn't right. His smile vanished as he increased his speed to his home. Why do I smell blood coming from the direction of the clan grounds, and is that sulfur? Sasuke thought as he ran through the clan gates and was greeted by the horrific sight of bloodied and cut-up bodies of various clan members lying on the ground. What the hell is going on? Sasuke started to panic as he tried to process the images in his mind before running off in the direction of his home, hoping that nothing had befallen his parents or sibling. Foolish boy. Mikoto tried to scream as her recently deceased body of her husband slumped to the floor in front of her, but not a single sound escaped from her lips. She watched on horrified as she stared into the familiar eyes of her eldest son as he advanced on her with his sword poised to strike. What are you doing, Itachi? Why are you doing this? She finally managed to scream out as Itachi closed his eyes with a sigh and raised his tanto. Sorry, Kasan. With that, Itachi swung his blade in a sweeping arc, expecting the familiar sound of steel cutting through flesh. Instead, what he got was the sound of steel impacting against steel. He opened his eyes to see a crimson visor staring right back at him. What do you think you're doing? The armor-wearing individual asked in a metallic voice. His right hand was outstretched and had blocked his blade with his gauntlet. Get out of my way. This matter does not concern you, stranger. Itachi replied in his usual monotone voice as he tried to assess the threat level of the newcomer. It became my business when I see you trying to harm such a beautiful woman. The figure countered lightly as Mikoto felt her cheeks heat up despite the situation. Very well then, I shall just dispose of you and finish the job later. Itachi jumped backward to create some distance before blurring out of existence, and reappearing behind the individual. He went for a sweeping side slash at neck height. The figure just blocked it with his left gauntlet before swiftly spinning around and placing his palm against Itachi's stomach. Kaitan, Chikara no Pushu. Force release, force push, the metallic voice whispered as Itachi suddenly flew backwards due to an unknown force that emitted from his opponent's palm. Kaitan? Itachi thought in confusion as he hacked up a mouthful of blood. He was suddenly assaulted by the memories of a clone he had ordered to patrol the grounds for any survivors. Clone memories. The clone jumped on top of a pole to better view the area. He immediately spotted the running form of his little brother. He knew he couldn't kill his brother, as he loved him too much, so he thought of a plan to give his brother some motivation to get stronger. Sasuke ran through the blood-soaked streets as he hurried to his house when suddenly his brother appeared in front of him. Just as he was about to hug him, Sasuke noticed that Itachi was dressed in his ANBU uniform and his tanto was covered with fresh blood. "Hey Aniki, what did you do?" Sasuke asked in confusion. Itachi's clone just looked at him with indifference before examining the blood-covered blade of his tanto. "Just killing this sorry excuse for a clan." "What? Why are you doing this?" Sasuke shouted in outrage. "To test the limits of my power, nothing more, nothing less," Itachi replied simply as he looked Sasuke in the eyes. "I won't kill you today or tomorrow or even next week, but I will come for you eventually. So run, foolish little brother, and cling on to your pathetic existence. Hate me and use that hatred to grow stronger." "Why Aniki, why?" Sasuke whispered as he looked into Itachi's eyes that suddenly changed into a tri-bladed shuriken. "Because I simply can, Tsukuyami." "Moon Reader," Sasuke heard Itachi say before his world suddenly vanished and he found himself in a black and red world. "Welcome to my world, little brother. In here I control everything, including time. For the next 72 hours you will watch me slaughter the clan and our parents repeatedly." Itachi's clone watched as Sasuke screamed and curled up into a ball after 3 seconds. "Damn, I used up my remaining chakra using Tsukuyami." Back to present. "So that's what my clone did. Never mind that. I have to focus on this battle, although almost half my chakra went into that clone," Itachi thought as he wiped the blood from his lips and stood back up. "Why don't you just leave, Itachi-san? I don't feel like hurting one of the few people who actually bothered to save me from the mobs when I was young," the figure suddenly said, causing Itachi's eyes to widen comically. "This guy is Naruto. When did he get so strong? Looks like I can't finish the mission." Itachi sheathed his tanto and looked at Naruto directly. "I can sense the Hokage and ANBU coming already, so I guess you win this round, Naruto-kun." Itachi smiled slightly before leaving via a quick shunshin, leaving behind an amused Naruto and a gaping Mikoto. This person who defeated Itachi, an ANBU captain at age 13, is none other than Uzumaki Naruto? Mikoto thought as Naruto sighed and threw back his hood before removing his helmet. Mikoto blushed as she saw the angular face and wavy blonde hair that was slightly matted down due to sweat. Without the whisker marks he would look like a carbon copy of Minato. Naruto turned and looked at Mikoto before glancing at the corpse of Fugaku. He crouched down beside her and checked her for injuries. "Are you injured in any way?" "And no, you arrived just in time, arigato for saving me." Mikoto smiled slightly as Naruto just chuckled and replaced his helmet and hood. "No problem. How could I stand by and watch someone scar this beautiful face? Now I must be off as reinforcements are coming, and if they ask who saved you," Naruto looked her in the eye with his crimson visor. "Tell them Darth Revan did." Naruto then vanished into the shadows of the house as Mikoto could still feel the blush on her face at the compliment regarding her beauty. Not a minute later, Hiruzen and 2 full squads of ANBU arrived at the scene. "Mikoto-san, what happened here?" Hiruzen asked softly as he believed the woman to be traumatized by the death of her husband, but in reality Mikoto had been in an arranged marriage and never really loved Fugaku. "Itachi just appeared out of nowhere and started attacking us. He managed to wound Fugaku severely before killing him. He was about to kill me when someone saved me." Mikoto trailed off as she remembered Naruto single-handedly holding off Itachi. "Can you describe your savior, and did he tell you his name?" Hiruzen asked politely while inwardly thinking. Who would be able to hold off Itachi-kun until we arrived? He wore red-trimmed black armor with a helmet and a cloak with a hood. As for his name, Darth Revan. Mikoto decided to honor her savior's wish to remain unknown. "I see. Well, Mikoto-san, I think you would be glad to hear that we found Sasuke still alive." He began, causing Mikoto to brighten up considerably. "Unfortunately, I think Itachi got to him and did something to his mind because he kept muttering something about hatred and avenging the clan." "Oh no, my poor baby! Please take me to him right now, Hokage-sama." Mikoto cried out but thought about something as well. Since Itachi was fighting Naruto-kun the entire time, that means it was a clone, but that would mean Itachi wasn't at his full strength. Especially since he had just killed the rest of the clan. Wait, Naruto-kun? Where did that come from? With Naruto/Darth Revan. Naruto crouched in the shadow of a nearby tree using a technique he had learned from Kyuubi to mask his chakra presence so people wouldn't be able to sense him easily. He watched as the ANBU escorted a worried-looking Mikoto to the hospital for a checkup as well as to find her son. "At least I was fast enough to save her," Naruto thought with a sigh as he leapt away from the scene with a force-enhanced jump. "Why did you call her beautiful?" came Kyuubi's question, which caught Naruto off guard and almost caused him to smack face first into the next building. "Why the heck did you suddenly ask that?" he replied after he saved himself from a humiliating and painful experience. Just answer the question. She snapped, causing Naruto to blink. If he had learned one thing about Kyubi, it was that she never snapped at him even during training. I was complimenting her. She does look beautiful despite her age. Naruto decided to humor her and answer. And I don't? She said quietly, causing Naruto to gain a look of understanding. Q-chan, are you jealous? He asked in surprise, as he never took the red-haired demoness to be the jealous type. And no. I was just wondering why you didn't tell me stuff like that. Q-chan, I never said that to you, not because I don't think you aren't beautiful, but because I can't find the words to even begin describing your beauty. Naruto answered honestly, causing her to blush uncontrollably while thanking the gods that she was in the mindscape so Naruto couldn't see it. Ah, thanks, Naruto-kun. Anytime, Q-chan. A month had passed since the Uchiha massacre. The Sandaime Hokage had put out a notice informing all ninjas to keep a lookout for a person matching Darth Revan's description. However, the ever-elusive Revan kept managing to leave the scene before any ninja forces could arrive. It's as if this Revan character could sense us coming from a mile away, but if that is so, then he has to be an excellent tracker ninja, or the very least an expert Byakugan user. Hiruzen thought as he puffed on his pipe. At any rate, at least he is foiling all this rape, murder and kidnapping attempts from the less savory side of Konoha's population. Hokage-sama, there is a Terumi Mei out here requesting permission to speak with you. She claims it's about something of great importance. His secretary's voice interrupted his thoughts. Send her in. Hiruzen replied before a beautiful teenage girl with long auburn hair walked into his office. He tried his hardest not to let his perverted side surface and coughed to regain some composure. Well, Terumi-san, what could you have to say to me that could be of so much importance? Hokage-sama, I am the current leader of the bloodline rebels in Kiri. Mei bowed slightly and sighed internally at the look of disbelief on the old man's face. I assure you that I am not joking. I was elected leader due to my dual bloodlines. I have the ability to combine my elements into sub-elements, which in my case would be fire and earth to create Jotan, lava release, and fire and water to create Futon, boil release. Most impressive for someone your age. So what have you come to ask of me, Terumi-san? Hiruzen asked as he took another puff of his pipe. I have come on the behalf of the Kiri rebels to plead our cause to you since Konoha respects their bloodlines. We hope that you would be so kind as to send some reinforcements to aid us in defeating the current Mizukage, Sanbai no Yagura of the Three Tails. Mei stated plainly without any beating around the bush. Hiruzen tapped his pipe as he seemed to be lost in thought and looked at the portraits of the former Hokages on the wall. What would you guys do, Sensei's Minato? He thought as he turned back to an expectant Mei and sighed heavily, knowing his duty outweighed his conscience. I'm sorry, Terumi-san, but for the sake of my village I cannot participate in this conflict. You must see it from my point of view, for if I help you and you still lose, then Kiri would be an enemy to us. Do you understand? Hi, I understand perfectly, Hokage-sama. Mei said softly with disappointment evident in her tone as she turned around and walked out of the office. The Sandaime sighed as he shook his head before going back to the paperwork that had suddenly appeared on his desk. Unknown to both of them, there was actually a third party listening in on their conversation. Looks like I'm going on a road trip. I heard that Kiri is nice this time of year. The shadow said as it vanished the next second. Streets of Konoha. Mei sighed dejectedly once again as she walked down the street. She had wasted her precious time coming to Konoha for no reason. The lecherous looks from the male population of the village weren't helping her mood either, and she couldn't threaten them since this wasn't her village. Stupid old monkey, not helping us in the war, not even bothering to check the situation before giving his answer. When we win the war, I am so not allying with Konoha if he is still their leader. Mei thought to herself, but was startled out of her thoughts when a voice called out to her from an alleyway. Mei turned her head in confusion as she spotted a cloaked figure beckoning to her. She followed him as she could handle herself if this was a trap. Mei-san, I heard that you might require aid in your rebellion against your village's current leader. The voice that came out of the cloak had a strange metallic quality to it, but she could recognize it as a male's. I might. What's it to you? Mei asked cautiously. I believe my services would be beneficial in your inter-village conflict. Listen to me before you go criticizing my skills that you do not know of. The figure replied. Isn't better to have someone help you rather than no one at all? Mei seemed to think hard about this before looking into the shadows of the hood. At least show me your face and tell me your name first. Very well, Mei-chan. The voice answered with a hint of mirth to it, causing Mei to flush slightly at the suffix. The figure threw back his cloak to reveal a black helmet with a crimson visor and trims. Mei stared at it fascinated until the figure spoke again. As for my name, you may call me Darth Revan. Darth Revan, Mei repeated as if testing the name on her tongue, before she smirked at him sexily and replied with a wink. Well, Revan-kun, meet me at the gates this evening, and we will head to Kiri. Naruto felt the heat rush to his cheeks at her actions before having to stifle a nosebleed that threatened to come out when he saw that she was purposely swaying her hips as she walked away. Nobody can outflirt Terumi Mei, he. Mei chuckled inwardly as she continued walking away. What a hussy. Kyubi injected into the situation as Naruto shook his head and sighed. Q-chan, what did I tell you about getting jealous? I am not jealous, damn it. Kyubi roared in his brain, causing him a slight migraine. Alright. You're not jealous, she didn't have to shout so loud. Naruto groaned in his mind as he held his head slightly, causing Kyubi to pout in his mind. You started it, you mean it? You know you will always be the most beautiful person to me, Q-chan. Naruto comforted her as the demoness blushed at the statement. Oh, of course I know you, baka. She replied heatedly to cover up her embarrassment, causing Naruto to sniffle and wipe a fake tear from his eye. Naruto just wanted to make Q-chan happy, but Q-chan called Naruto a baka. Naruto thinks Q-chan hates Naruto. Naruto wailed childishly. Baka, get serious. Don't forget you have to meet that lady at the gate in 2 hours' time, so I recommend you get some supplies for your trip. Kyubi gave him a mental bonk on the head. Itai. Naruto thought as he clutched his head in mock pain. Don't hurt Naruto anymore, Q-chan. Naruto is going to get the supplies because Naruto is a good boy. He couldn't resist the Toby reference. 2 hours later. Mei stood at the gate with her escort. She glanced at the position of the setting sun. Terumi-sama, we should head out soon if we want to make it to Kiri by tomorrow morning, her escort said as she looked around the village entrance trying to spot someone. There is no rush. I trust that Ao is competent enough to run operations when I am not there. Where is he? Mei added the last part under her own breath. Where's who? The same metallic voice replied from beside her. She turned her head and saw the cloaked individual standing beside her with his head cocked to the side in a cute pose. Terumi-sama, I thought you said that the Hokage didn't send us any aid. The escort asked in confusion at seeing the slightly creepy cloaked figure standing there. This is Darth Revan, and he has offered us his aid in dealing with Yagura's forces. Mei introduced Naruto, who just nodded his head slightly in greeting. Is one man going to make that much of a difference in the war? The escort asked in clear disbelief. Mei noticed Naruto made a slight gesture with his hand as he spoke. My skills are enough to turn the tide of this war, Naruto told the escort as the escort seemed to blink a few times before turning around and walking out the village. His skills are enough to turn the tide of the war, so we should head back now, Terumi-sama. The escort seemed to repeat the exact words in a monotone voice, causing Mei to look between the escort and Naruto in confusion. Okay, I give up. What exactly did you do to him? Mei asked after several seconds. Oh, that? That is simply a. Naruto paused for dramatic tension as Mei leaned in slightly. Secret. Mei damn near face faulted when she heard that. In the end, she just decided to stick with pouting, causing Naruto to chuckle in his metallic tone of Darth Revan. Do you know you look really cute when you pout like that, Mei-chan? He asked with a hidden grin, causing Mei to blush slightly before increasing her pace so she left Naruto behind. Payback's a bitch, Mei-chan. Several hours later. Terumi-sama, I think we should stop and set up camp here for the night, since we won't be able to make it the rest of the way by tonight, the escort said as they dropped into a clearing in the middle of a forest. I guess you're right, we will set up the tents here for the night, and leave first thing tomorrow morning, Mei stated before looking at Naruto, who was giving off a sheepish aura as he scratched his cloaked head. What is it, Revan-kun? I kind of had forgotten to bring my tent since I haven't traveled this far outside my village, before he replied with a nervous laugh while Mei had a gleam in her eye. Ooh, payback time, she thought with an inward snicker before looking at Naruto/Revan. Well, since you don't have one, then you could share mine, Mei trailed off suggestively, causing her escort to splutter incoherently until Naruto did the hand wave gesture again. You have no problems with us sharing a tent, Naruto muttered under his breath as the escort repeated the same words and went back to setting up the tents. Mei looked on dumbfounded as she watched this exchange, since she didn't expect him to actually accept her proposal. Naruto had another unseen grin on his face. Mei-chan, don't we have to get started on our tent? Huh. Oh, I'm right. Mei blushed heavily as she helped Revan/Naruto set up their tent, and they entered it together once it was up. Naruto took off his helmet with a hiss of air escaping and shook his sweat-matted down hair back into its original spiky position. He stiffened when he heard a gasp from behind him. God damn it! I totally forgot we were sharing a tent, Naruto groaned in his mind before turning around to address the situation at hand. Wow, who knew he was this hot under that helmet? Mei thought with a blush when Naruto turned around and couldn't help but study his handsome visage. Well, this is my true face, Naruto sighed as Mei looked at him with a puzzled expression that Naruto thought looked cute on her. Why do you wear a helmet that covers your entire face when there are no deformities for it to cover up? She asked him, causing Naruto to sigh as he knew there was no backing out now. My real name is Uzumaki Naruto, and I am the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Yes, the same Kyuubi that attacked around 8 years ago. The Yondaime couldn't defeat it, so he resealed it into me. The villagers hate my guts for containing the Kyuubi, so they regularly beat me for that. I wear the mask so that they won't recognize me, and as a promise to a friend passed on. To suffer so much, and still retain your sanity. Wait a minute. You are only 8 years old? Mei suddenly exclaimed, causing Naruto to chuckle and scratch his head. My appearance is a side effect of all my physical training for the past 3 years and accelerated growth due to containing Kyuchan inside me. Kyuchan? Mei voiced out, confused. Oh, the Kyuubi is a she and is actually very nice when you get to know her, and she only attacked on that night due to a genjutsu-influenced bloodlust. Naruto replied simply while Mei just blinked 3 times to process the information before pointing at the sky. Ha! Take that, you stupid sexist bastards! The strongest tailed demon is female! She shouted, suddenly causing Naruto to sweat drop. I think I was wrong about her, Naruto-kun. She and I are going to get along really well, Kyuubi mused in his mind, causing Naruto to sigh. Well, Mei-chan, I guess that's it for an explanation. Now let's turn in for the night, since we have another long day ahead tomorrow, he said with a yawn to emphasize his statement. Sure, Revan-kun. Good night. Mei chirped with amusement in her voice. Night, Mei-chan, Naruto murmured as he fell asleep almost instantly. Next morning, sunlight streamed through the small gap in the entrance of the tent, causing both occupants to groan and wake up at the same time. And they awoke in a rather interesting position. Mei had sometime during the night rolled on top of Naruto's sleeping form and snuggled into his chest, while Naruto had one hand over her in a protective fashion. Their other hands were in more interesting circumstances. Mei's right hand had somehow warmed its beneath the waistband of the front of Naruto's pants, while Naruto's right hand was beneath the waistband of the back of Mei's pants. After 3 awkward seconds of looking at their hands then each other, the hands were quickly retracted by their respective owners. I didn't mean for that to happen, Naruto blushed madly as he apologized whilst thinking. Damn, she has a soft yet firm ass. Me too, it must have happened when we were sleeping, Mei replied with a similar blush on her face whilst thinking. Dear Kami, he's only 8 years old and I estimated that he is already 6 inches. Breakfast made for an awkward ordeal as the escort looked at the pair in confusion, since whenever one of them caught the eye of the other, both would turn away immediately with blushes on their respective faces. After finishing their breakfast, Naruto and Mei agreed never to bring up that memory again, or at least in the presence of company. I believe that if we went by yesterday's pace, we would arrive in Mizu-no-Kuni, Land of Water, by mid-afternoon, the escort said as Mei and Naruto nodded in agreement before moving off in the direction of Kiri. Naruto was conversing with Kyuubi mentally about the so-called Sanbai no Yagura, the current leader of Kiri. Last I heard about the Sanbai was when Kushina overheard Minato discussing with his advisors about Kiri sealing the Sanbai into some baby by their leader at the time. Kyuubi growled at the thought of Kiri sealing the Sanbai just to be used as a weapon. Was the Sanbai attacking their village at that time? Naruto asked mentally as he continued moving despite the inner conversation he was having. That's the thing. Sanbai-chan was one of the gentlest of us all and wouldn't harm a living thing without good reason, yet the damn Mizukage at that time sealed her just to make a weapon for his village. Good thing he died soon after the sealing. The world doesn't need trash like that. She snarled in reply, causing Naruto to frown slightly. As someone who bears the similar burden of being a Jinchuriki, why did he suddenly start the bloodline purges out of the blue when it was obvious that bloodlines make the village stronger? The thought has been bugging me as well. There are 2 logical answers to that. 1, he has gone completely batshit insane. 2, which is more likely, that someone is controlling or manipulating his actions. Kyuubi stated as Naruto seemed to believe it as well. Mid-afternoon. The group of 3 had just arrived at the location of the rebel base in Mizu-no-Kuni. The escort had left to perform other duties while Naruto just followed Mei as she walked towards the command center. She strode in through the swing doors with the aura of a leader around her as the people inside immediately snapped to attention, and a man with an eye patch stepped forward. How was things here while I was gone, Ao? Mei asked the man. We are still holding our ground, Mei, but we won't be able to for much longer if we don't get reinforcements and supplies. By the way, who is he? Ao jerked his thumb in the direction of Naruto, who was leaning against a wall as he observed the 2 talk. His name is Darth Revan, and he offered us his help despite his village turning us down. Revan, this is Ao. He's my second in command and an old friend of mine. Mei introduced the two and they shook hands. Revan-san, I don't care that you are the only person that came, but just for doing that, you went up a few places in my books, Ao said with a slight grin. Glad to be of service, Ao, but please just call me Revan. This san suffix makes me feel old. Naruto could feel Ao's curiosity increase at this answer, but he kept silent, to which Mei gave an inward sigh of relief. Mei, now that you're back, what are your orders? Ao asked as Mei looked at the tactical map on the mission table. Her eyes scanned the entire map in a minute. You said that one of our main problems is the lack of supplies for our troops, right? Mei looked at Ao for confirmation, to which he nodded yes in reply. Then this will be our next target, Shuryu Mainstream Village. It is situated next to the largest river in Mizu no Kuni, and the grounds around it are used for farming. With that, our issue with supplies will be solved. Unfortunately, that piece of real estate is owned by our enemy, so we will have to take it by force. Sounds like my kind of job. Naruto grinned beneath his helmet as he walked over to the map and looked over it as well. There's this narrow passageway. He pointed at a small path between two vertical cliff faces. The path was only wide enough for 8 men to walk side by side. If you can get your men to lure their men through this pathway, then I will handle the rest. What exactly could you accomplish by having my men run through a narrow corridor with the enemy directly behind them? Mei asked suspiciously. Why, I'm going to wipe out their entire force. Naruto replied, simply causing everyone in the room to look at him as if he were crazy. Just trust me. I know what I'm doing. Alright, I'll trust you, Mei said after a few seconds. Ao, I want 3 Jounin teams briefed on this mission and tell them to respond to Darth Revan's orders. Are you sure, Mei? Ao asked, but the look Mei had when she looked at him sent a shiver up his spine. Ao, shut up or I'll kill you, she replied with a sickly sweet smile on her face. Yes, ma'am, I'll go round them up right away. Ao hurried off as he muttered under his breath. What did I say? I'll prove that your trust in me isn't misplaced, Mei-chan, Naruto promised as he and Mei left the room. It better not be, or I will melt your balls off, Narukuin, Mei answered in the same sickly sweet tone she used with Ao as a shiver went up Naruto's spine as well. Meanwhile in Konoha, Mikoto sighed as she watched her son arrive home after the academy, only to head to their clan's training grounds immediately afterward. Once he had recovered from his ordeal, Sasuke had turned from the happy kid he was into an ego-driven brat that only lived to serve the purpose of killing his brother and avenging the clan. Instead of a cheerful greeting and a hug when he returned home, all she got now was a grunt that signified that he was heading to the training grounds. I want my baby boy back, Mikoto thought in sadness. I wonder how Naruto-kun is doing. Will he ever forgive me for not helping him despite the fact that I was his mother's best friend? A knock on the door interrupted her train of thoughts. She opened the door and sighed inwardly. It was another ninja that was trying to ask her out on a date. Why couldn't they take a hint and stop bothering her? Mikoto-sama, my name is Mizuki and I was wondering if you wanted to get some dinner with me? The silver-haired Chunin instructor asked. Mizuki-san, how many times have I told you that I am not interested and that I am still recovering mentally from the massacre of my clan by my son? Mikoto placed emphasis on the last word. She was tired of this guy since he had asked her out around 4 times in the past month. She closed the door in his face as she went back into the house to make dinner, as she knew Sasuke would stride back into the house around evening and demand food. How dare that bitch turn down my offer not once but 4 times in the past month? Mizuki fumed mentally as he walked back to his apartment before an idea popped into his head. Hee, just you wait, Mikoto-chan. Soon you will be mine. Mizuki started to whistle happily as he increased his pace back home since he needed time to draft the speech he was going to give the council. Back in Rebel Base, Naruto stood with his arms crossed as he observed the 9 bloodline-wielding Jounin standing in front of him, all of which were staring at the imposing figure of the black and red armored individual who was to be their mission leader. As you have been briefed by Ao, my name is Darth Revan. You have been told to follow my orders and I want any of you who are unsatisfied to voice it out right now. Naruto's metallic voice rang out through the room. Hell yeah, I got a problem. Why do we have to follow your orders? You just popped out of nowhere, and we don't even know what abilities you have. A recently promoted Jounin shouted. Naruto noted he had the distinct characteristics of the Hozuki family. Naruto merely raised his hand in a choking motion and the Jounin immediately felt his windpipe start to constrict. He grasped at his throat as if trying to pry off the invisible hands around his neck. Just as he was about to pass out, Naruto dropped his hand and the guy fell onto the floor gasping for air like a half-drowned man. Anybody else want to question me? He asked darkly as the rest of the Jounins shook their head quickly, clearly not wanting to experience whatever he had used on the rookie. Excellent, I believe you have been briefed on the plan, so I expect to see you all up and ready by the time the sun is rising. The gathered Jounins dispersed to begin their mission preparations, leaving Naruto with the still recovering rookie. Naruto sighed softly as the guy flinched when he had placed a hand on his shoulder and hauled him to his feet. What's your name? Naruto asked simply. Hozuki Kengetsu, sir. Kengetsu added as an afterthought. You don't have to call me that when we aren't on the battlefield, Ken. Mind if I call you that? Naruto asked the bewildered Kengetsu. Not really, my fellow shinobi call me that all the time, Kengetsu replied in confusion. One moment he is all scary, then the next he is all buddy-buddy like, what the hell? Listen, Ken, what I did to you was just my way of making sure that everyone stayed in line. Your reasons were solid and would normally apply, but I am not normal. Naruto explained as he walked Kengetsu through the base to his room. Tomorrow's mission isn't going to be easy, and I am not going to say that it is, so I have to make sure there will be no insubordination before the actual mission occurs. This way I prevent unnecessary deaths on the mission due to conflicting orders. Do you understand where I am coming from? I guess I actually do understand now that you explained it. Kengetsu stopped just outside his room and faced Naruto and held out a hand. Looking forward to what else you can do, Revan, and I guess I'm sorry about earlier. No need to apologize, Ken. You were just doing what any rational ninja would do in that situation, but as I said before, I'm not normal. Naruto chuckled as he walked off, leaving an amused Kengetsu standing in the doorway to his room. My gut is telling me that he is going to be the one who changes the tide of this war, and that he is destined for great things, Kengetsu whispered as he walked back into his room and locked the door behind and plopped down onto his makeshift bed. And my gut has yet to fail me. Inspiring speech, Naruto. Kyuubi's voice echoed through Naruto's head as he paused momentarily before resuming his walk. I don't want their deaths to be on my mind. They're good people fighting for a good cause, and I want as many of them to make it out the other side as possible. Naruto thought in reply. A noble thought, Naruto, but at the end of the day, no matter who wins the war, there will always be dead to mourn. Kyuubi reminded him. I know, Kyu-chan. That's why I'm making it my duty to end this war as fast as possible. War brings nothing but loss, and loss leads to pain, pain leads to anger, and anger leads to hate. And those feelings are what lead to people straying down the dark path. For the force is neither light nor dark, as it is the person who decides which path they choose to take. Quoting your old sensei now, Naruto? Next thing you know, you will be teaching your own apprentice. Kyuubi joked as she tried to lighten the mood. The only people I will ever teach would be my own children. Naruto snorted as he finally reached his room and unlocked the door before entering and relocking it behind him. Kyuubi blushed as she imagined her as the mother of Naruto's kids. The image of her and Naruto chasing around blonde and redheads appeared in her head. For that moment in time, Kyuubi would trade anything in her possession, including her demon powers, just to make the image a reality, but alas, the image faded into the back of her mind as she found herself still in the mindscape. Kyu-chan, you there? Naruto's voice broke her out of her depressing thoughts as she faked a yawn to cover up her lapse in attention. Sorry, Naruto, but I'm feeling tired, so why don't we both get some sleep since you have a mission to lead early tomorrow morning anyway? I guess so, Naruto thought as he turned off the light and lay down on his bed. Night, Kyu-chan. Good night, Naruto. Kyuubi replied, but still couldn't help but wish that she was curled up next to him instead of within him. Naruto had met up with the 9 Jounin assault group at the entrance of the base before the sun had even risen. He looked at each in turn before his gaze landed on Kengetsu. Alright team, this will not be your typical mission. We are a group of 10 heading towards an enemy outpost that would most likely have 10 times the amount of men that we do. However, you guys have been briefed on the plan, you just have to concentrate on luring them into the passageway and I'll take it from there. Naruto paused as he looked over the gathered Jounin again. I want each one of us to make it out of there in one piece if possible. No stupid heroics or any of that glory bullshit. Understand? Hi Taicho. Captain, they chorused as one, causing Naruto to smile slightly under his helmet. He turned around and vanished in a blur which was quickly followed by 9 other blurs. After an hour of continuous running, the group finally arrived at the outskirts of Shuryu village. Naruto expanded his force awareness and could sense a rather significant amount of troops in there. He pulled out a piece of paper with the layout of the village on it. This is the barracks where most of their forces will be concentrated. Naruto pointed to a rectangular gray block that was situated in the middle of the village. Once we start raising hell, expect a lot of enemy troops to start pouring out of this building. Your job is to lead them through the passageway and get out of there as soon as possible. I want 2 Jounins to volunteer for straggler duty, as we cannot be certain that every enemy leave the village, so once the others have lured out the majority, I want 2 of you to infiltrate the village and take out any remaining enemies in there. Naruto saw Kengetsu and another Jounin raise their hands. Ah Ken, I expected that from you. What's your name? Ryuji Hei's Taicho. Hei's shook Naruto's outstretched hand. My Kekkei Genkai allows me to literally bend water to my will. Interesting ability, Hei's. Alright, both you and Ken are on straggler duty. I want both of you to cover each other's flanks. The rest of us will move to assist you once our plan is accomplished. Naruto said and used his hand to signal for them to move out. Katon, Gakakyu no Jutsu. Fire release, grand fireball technique. Several of the jounin shouted as huge balls of fire slammed into random points of the village as Naruto watched from his perch in a nearby tree. Perhaps I should have reminded them that we want this place in one piece, Naruto mused aloud as he watched a gigantic water dragon smash into a building and collapsing it. As predicted by Naruto, enemy troops started pouring out of the barracks and into the streets. Jutsus, kunais and shurikens were flying through the air as both sides struggled to get the advantage. Suddenly the rebels started to pull back towards the narrow pathway. Upon seeing their enemy fleeing, Yagura's forces roared in victory and began to chase the fleeing rebels through the passage. Guess that's my cue, Naruto thought as he held out both his hands and started to push them together and downwards at the same time. Sweat started to drip down his face as he struggled with some unseen forces and continued to try and push his hands together. The rebels had made it out the other side of the passageway when they heard a loud rumbling sound coming from behind them. They turned around only to see the most amazing thing in their lives. The vertical cliff faces had started to crumble and eventually started an avalanche that buried the entire group of advancing enemy forces. Naruto was panting heavily as he slumped back against the trunk of the tree he was in. He grinned as he saw what he had accomplished. Kengetsu and Hei's had their jaws hanging off the hinges when they saw their captain bring down two cliffs made of solid rock with just some gestures of his hands. What the hell is he? Hei's asked in awe before he was slapped on the back of his head by Kengetsu. Ouch. What the hell, man? No idea what the hell he is, but I'm just glad he's on our side. Now, in case you have forgotten, we have a job to do. Kengetsu grinned with his shark-like teeth as he jumped over the fence while drawing his katana at the same time. Hei's sighed before he jumped over the fence as well. He landed on the opposite side and saw Kengetsu already rushing towards the barracks. Wait for me, you moron! Hei shouted as he took off after Kengetsu, who had already decapitated the poor fool who thought it was safe to stick his head out the barracks door. He saw another Chunin heading for Kengetsu's back as he was too occupied fighting with another jounin. Hei's quickly summoned water from a nearby puddle and launched it in the form of a spear right through the Chunin's chest. A few minutes later, Naruto and the rest of the jounin's sweat dropped in unison when they returned to the village to find Kengetsu sitting on a pile of dead enemies while sipping from his water bottle. I see you guys handled it perfectly well without our help, Naruto deadpanned as he surveyed the area. A few buildings destroyed by the surprise attack, but nothing too serious. He then looked at his team to see if any of them required medical treatment. Kengetsu and Hei's were fine, while the rest only had shallow cuts and slightly singed clothes. Great job, guys. Looks like we managed to secure a victory without losing any men today. Naruto congratulated them. That's great and all, but mind telling us how you managed to bring down two cliffs just by gesturing with your hands? Kengetsu asked, causing Naruto to blink and look around at the curious faces. It's simple, he waited until the jounins were starting to lean slightly. It's my bloodline. Cue multiple face faults at the simplistic answer as Kengetsu jumped back to his feet immediately and pointed a finger at Naruto. You expect me to believe there is a bloodline out there that allows you to do that kind of shit? Yes. Naruto replied, simply causing everyone to sweat drop. Now if you guys are done interrogating me, we have to inform Mei about our victory here. Rebel Command Center. Mei-sama. Mei-sama. We just received a letter from Revan that they had successfully captured Shuryu village without losing any of our own forces while the enemy had lost their entire force stationed there. A Chunin announced after bursting into the command room. That's excellent news. Ayo. I want as many available troops as possible to go and occupy Shuryu village as soon as possible. Someone write a reply that states I want Revan back here immediately. Mei shouted out orders as everyone scrambled to comply. I knew I made the right choice in trusting you, Naruto-kun. Hopefully with you helping us we might be able to win this war. She thought to herself. Shuryu village. Naruto read the letter that had arrived seconds ago via Carrier Hawk. He turned back to the group of jounin to address them. It has been great working with you guys ***oh sorry, and girl for this mission, but it looks like I have been recalled to base. Your orders are to remain here until reinforcements arrive to properly secure the village, so I guess I'll see you around. Naruto took turns shaking each of their hands while the only female of the group gave him a hug and peck on his helmet's cheek, causing the guys to snicker. Naruto gave them one last nod before dashing off in the direction of the base. He grinned suddenly at the memories of his dispelled clone. Clones memories. As soon as the original Naruto had left the village, a shadow slowly inched away from its hiding spot before trying to make a break for it. The shadow was revealed to be an enemy Chunin that had somehow managed to evade detection. He ran as fast as possible to warn his Kage about what happened. Unfortunately for him, Naruto had sensed him easily and created a Kage Bushin to intercept him, which resulted in the Chunin skidding to a halt when he saw the imposing figure of Darth Revan in front of him. "How are you here? I saw you leave in the other direction," the man exclaimed in fright as he tried to look for a possible way out. Revan merely held out his hand with a grasping motion, causing the Chunin to suddenly start floating off the forest floor. The man panicked as he struggled to break free of the Force grasp. "How are you doing this?" the man shouted in fear as he failed to break free. "It won't matter to you since you won't be alive long enough to tell anyone. Now you will tell me everything you know about Yagura's forces," Naruto growled as the man suddenly laughed. "Ha! And what makes you think I will tell you that?" "You will tell me everything you know about Yagura's forces." Naruto pushed as much force power as possible into his suggestion. "I will tell you everything I know about Yagura's forces." The man's will broke under Naruto's control over the force. Flashback no Jutsu Ki. Apparently the Chunin had a lot of information regarding Yagura's forces, from troop number to the deployment schedule for the coming week. This information would be vital for planning ambushes as well as making plans for the future. Naruto had granted the man a quick death by snapping his neck. Naruto had finally made it back to the base to find Mei waiting at the entrance for him. He grinned under the helmet as he strode towards her. "Mission accomplished, Mei-chan." Naruto saluted playfully as Mei chuckled. "I have to say it's a job well done, Revan-kun," Mei replied using his alias as there could be people listening in. "Do you have anything you wish to report?" "As a matter of fact, how would you like to know the deployment schedule for Yagura's forces for the coming week?" Naruto asked with an unseen grin as Mei's eyes widened comically at that statement. "Why you managed to acquire that kind of sensitive information?" she asked in disbelief, causing Naruto to roll his eyes behind his helmet. "Do not underestimate the power of the Force," Naruto quoted his deceased master. "Is that what your bloodline is called?" Mei tried to prod him for information. Naruto decided to place some trust in her, as she did with him. "Not really, my bloodline has yet to be named, for I am the first person to manifest it. My bloodline allows me to tap into the natural energy of the planet, and no, it is not chakra," Naruto explained as best as he could. "From my understanding, chakra is a mutated form of the Force. Chakra is a mixture of physical and spiritual energy that are generated within the body of living things. However, the Force is the energy of the universe. It surrounds everything and binds us together, from plants to humans to the very planet itself. The way you describe it makes it seem like you can do anything with it," Mei concluded from the explanation. "Well, not everything, but almost nothing is impossible when you are a master of the Force, which I am only an adept at it." Naruto sighed as he reminded himself that he had more training to do. "Interesting. Now what was it about Yagura's deployment plans?" Mei shifted the conversation back on track. "Well, I do know he is planning a few strike runs here and there, mostly to trick you into keeping your forces thinned out. However, his real plan is to lead his entire army to march on this very base." Naruto drew on a piece of map of Mizuno Kuni, circling the places he had pointed out. "That means," Mei paled as she realized what would happen if Yagura were to lead his army straight for their base. "Yes, it means he is going to end this war with one final decisive strike. He still thinks that he has the element of surprise that is something we can use to our advantage," Naruto said as he tapped his chin repeatedly. "Shouldn't I recall all our forces to the base in this case?" Mei asked in concern. "Definitely not, that would just tip him off that we know what he's planning." Naruto trailed off as he examined the map further. "This open plain between the two forces, yes, that would work perfectly." "What is it? Do you have a plan?" Mei asked as she looked at the map as well. "Not only do I have a plan, but this plan is going to turn the tide of this war if not end it." Naruto waved his hands excitedly. "Then I expect you to have the details of this so-called plan ironed out by tomorrow, so you can debrief the entire base on what course of action you want us to take," Mei told him. "It will be done by tomorrow morning, Mei-chan." Naruto rolled up the map and sealed it into a storage seal on the inner side of his cloak. "Good, I have some routine checkups to perform now. Would you be interested in joining me?" Mei asked with a slight blush. Who in the right mind would decline an invitation to spend time with such a beautiful woman? Naruto smirked when he saw Mei's blush increase in intensity. "The first stop is the canteen to grab something to eat, and we will make our way from there," Mei said once she had her blush under control again. Naruto nodded his consent as he walked side by side with her to the mess hall. He heard snatches of conversation along the way. Hey, see that armored guy beside our leader? A Chunin nudged his friend walking beside him. Of course I do, what's the matter? I heard that he was the leader of the 10-man team that had secured an enemy outpost and wiped out the entire force stationed there without losing any men. No way, that's the guy that I've been hearing about. I won't want to get on his bad side. I heard he had almost killed the Jounin without even touching him. I agree, man. I heard the rumors that said he managed to collapse 2 cliffs just by making hand gestures. Seems like someone is becoming quite the star around here. May whispered so other people wouldn't overhear. What can I say? When I do something, I do it to the best of my ability. Naruto shrugged his shoulders uncaringly as they continued walking. Oh really? Tell me, Revan-kun, does that motto apply to the bedroom as well? Mei cooed seductively. Wouldn't you like to know, Mei-chan? Naruto countered, instantly causing Mei's brain to run through several scenarios that left her panties slightly damp. Naruto had a small grin under his helmet that he had finally gotten the last say against the auburn-haired female beside him. Konoha's council chambers. Mizuki, you better have a good reason for asking us to gather here today, or it's going to be your head on a platter. A fat merchant grunted as he plopped down into his seat. I agree with him, and why isn't the Hokage here? Hyuga Hayashi sat with his arms crossed as his pupilless eyes gazed upon the form of Mizuki standing in the middle of the chamber. I apologize, esteemed members of the council, for gathering you here today, but I assure you that it is for the betterment of Konoha. And as for why Hokage-sama isn't here, that is because this meeting does not require his presence, so I did not want to distract him from his work. Mizuki grinned inwardly as the council members seemed to settle down after his explanation. So for what purpose have you called us here, for boy? An old, bandaged man by the name of Shimura Danzo asked as he tapped his cane impatiently on the wooden floor. Dear council members, I am sure all of you remember the night we lost the majority of the Uchiha clan to Uchiha Itachi's rampage. Mizuki began as a murmur broke out through the chamber. I believe that we may begin the restoration of the great Uchiha clan faster than we had imagined. Please elaborate on what you mean by that, Mizuki-san. Akimichi Chuza inquired politely. Since Sasuke-san is still not of the correct age to begin repopulating the Uchiha clan, I suggest we start with Mikoto-sama first, as she is still of the prime age to give birth. Mizuki replied, which immediately caused Inuzuka-tsum to burst out of her seat. How dare you try and make my friend a breeding factory for a clan of thieves? Tsum shouted in outrage, barely controlling herself from tearing the man into tiny shreds. Inuzuka-sama, I didn't mean it like that. Mizuki stammered slightly as he didn't know that Mikoto had a friend on the council. Then tell me exactly what you meant when you said that. Tsum snarled but had sat back down in her chair, causing Mizuki to let out a mental sigh of relief. I meant that she should remarry soon and have kids. That way we can ensure that the Sharingan does not die out completely should anything happen to either Mikoto-sama or Sasuke-san, Mizuki said. And who exactly is she to marry, huh? You. Tsum growled lowly as if warning him to try anything funny. If she does not find anyone to marry by the end of the coming week, then why shouldn't I marry her? Mizuki countered the statement, causing more discussion among the council members. Troublesome if she were to find someone else to marry before then? Nara Shikako asked before Tsum had another outburst. Then she would bear that man's children and marry him, simple as that. Mizuki replied a little unsurely this time. Shall we pass a vote on this then? Midaman Hamura asked. The Inuzukas do not accept such a ridiculous request. Tsum growled. The Nara clan also object this request, Shikako said in a bored tone. The Akimichi clan does not support your decision, Chuza said. The Hyuga clan does not support this request, Hayashi said, but for the reason that he didn't want the Uchiha clan back. The Yamanaka clan objects as well, Inoichi said. The Aburame clan does not support this request, Shibi said in his usual monotone voice. In the end, only these 6 clan heads had opposed the request while the remaining 9 council members approved it, leading to a grinning Mizuki as his plan was accomplished. I can't believe those old farts on the council approved of that absurd request, Tsum shouted as she threw her hands into the air in frustration. Troublesome, but there isn't anything we can do except give her a heads up regarding the matter. Shikako sighed as he placed his head back on the table. Shikako has a point, Tsum. Who knows, Mikoto might actually find someone by the end of next week, Chuza suggested. Unlikely, but you may be right. I guess I'm heading to Miko-chan's home to warn her first. Sim walked out of the council chambers and made her way towards the Uchiha district. Uchiha household. Mikoto was cleaning up after lunch when she heard someone knocking on her front door. She mentally prayed that it wasn't that annoying Mizuki again. She dried her hands on a nearby towel before heading to the door and opening it slowly to reveal Sim standing at her doorstep. Sim-chan. This is a surprise, what are you doing here? Mikoto smiled slightly, but that disappeared when she noticed the frown on her friend's face. Is something wrong? Miko-chan, I believe this conversation would be better suited within your home. Sim told her as Mikoto quickly invited her in and locked the door behind them. What's bothering you, Sim-chan? Mikoto asked once the pair had sat down on the sofas in the living room. Sim sighed heavily before repeating the events in the council chambers up until she decided to warn her about it. Mikoto had a horrified look on her usually beautiful face after hearing the lengths Mizuki had gone through to get her for himself. I'm sorry that I couldn't do anything to overrule their decision, Miko-chan, Sim said apologetically. It's alright, Sim-chan. I know that you couldn't do anything in that situation. Mikoto had a small smile on her face as she tried to think of a way out of this. So do you have anyone you would consider marrying? It would be better that you marry someone you actually like instead of that bastard Mizuki. Sim spat his name out like it was poison. I'm not really sure. Mikoto trailed off as the image of Naruto in his Darth Revan attire came to mind, causing her to blush. Unfortunately for her, Sim had caught sight of the blush and was currently smirking up a storm. Oh, Miko-chan has a crush already, huh? So who's the lucky guy who caught your attention? Sim teased. Sim-chan. Mikoto whined with a pout before finally crumbling under Sim's relentless questioning. Fine, I'll tell you on the grounds that you don't tell anyone else. Who do you take me for? Sim grasped her chest in mock hurt, causing Mikoto to giggle slightly. Well, it's the guy who saved me from Itachi during the massacre, Mikoto admitted reluctantly. You mean that Darth Revan guy that has been stopping all the crime in Konoha recently? Sim asked. I thought you said he was wearing a cloak and helmet? He was wearing a cloak and helmet, but he showed me his face before he left. Don't tell anyone I told you that. Mikoto looked at Sim seriously, who agreed to keep her mouth shut. So was he hot? Sim asked suddenly with a feral grin. Mikoto blushed as she remembered the angular features, the wild blonde hair, the feral whisker marks and calm cerulean eyes. You could say that. With Naruto's reinforced Kagebushin in Konoha. Naruto's clone had just escaped capture by the ANBU squad yet again when he spotted the lone figure of Shimura Danzo exiting a worn-down building. Now what could be in there that could be so interesting? The clone thought as he stealthily hid in the shadows of a nearby alley until he was sure that Danzo had left before moving towards the building. He spread out his force awareness and found that there was a dim, but still readable source of life inside. His curiosity piqued at this. Let's see what you have to hide from the Hokage, Mr. One-Eyed Mummy. The clone thought as it scaled the side of the building and entered through a broken window. He slowly made his way towards the faint force presence. The trail seemed to lead through a pair of titanium doors that were locked securely. The clone smirked slightly. It takes a lot more than a fancy lock and titanium doors to stop this clone. He held out his hands and slowly moved them apart from each other. The steel doors groaned and slowly but surely shifted out of the way, creating a small path that the clone could squeeze through. What the clone found on the other side both shocked and angered him. There lying on a bed was a comatose Uzumaki Kushina. Man, boss won't be happy to hear about this when he dispels me when he gets back. The clone flipped a stray lock of red hair back into place. Damn, when Q-chan said my mom was hot I didn't think she meant drop dead gorgeous. True to what the clone thought, the body of Kushina didn't seem to have aged a day since the day of the QB's attack. The clone mentally sighed as he flipped through a chart at the base of the bed. Apparently she was in a deep coma caused by the serious extent of her wounds. Even medical ninjutsu couldn't seem to wake her from her comatose state. The boss should be able to do it with his knowledge of the force the clone used to itself before looking at Kushina's unmoving body. Sorry, but I won't be able to do anything for the moment, so I'll be leaving you here until the boss returns from his trip to Kiri. The clone told the body as if it could hear him. The clone left through the gap and used the force to shift the doors back into their correct position before exiting the building via another window. With Naruto and Mizuno Kuni. Naruto had spent the day walking with Mei through the base. They talked about their respective childhoods and about their likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams. Naruto still didn't trust her enough to tell her everything, but he told her more than what he would tell other people. So that's the entire base that we have seen today. I guess it's time to hit the sack. Mei yawned and stretched out her arms to emphasize her tiredness. Well then I will see you tomorrow morning for the briefing, Mei-chan. Good night. Naruto waved back at her as he walked down another corridor towards his room. Mei watched him leave with a slight look of longing before shaking herself out of her stupor and heading back to her own sleeping quarters as well. Naruto unrolled the map and placed it on his bedside table as he examined it more thoroughly to make sure that the plan he had thought up would be executed without a hitch. "What do you think of the plan, Q-chan?" he asked for his tenant's opinion. "I think it's like the rest of your plans, bothering on insane and genius," QB replied honestly. "I'm not sure to take that as a compliment or an insult." Naruto's sweat dropped. "It's up to you how you see it. By the way, what are you planning to do with Sanbai-chan inside the seal on Yagura?" QB asked. "I'm not sure yet, but she should be released upon the death of her host, right? Since her seal isn't the Shiki Fujin, so releasing her from it shouldn't be too much of a hassle." Naruto sighed as he tried to determine how Yagura fought. It would be obvious that he would be proficient in water ninjutsu since they are in Mizu no Kuni, but did he use taijutsu as well or any form of weaponry? Naruto knew that Yagura was able to fully control the Sanbai and take on her beast form during a battle, which would be problematic. "I guess I will have to rely on my skills in both the force as well as chakra to keep me alive during the battle," Naruto thought as he finalized his plans before turning in for the night. Next morning, Naruto stood beside Mei as she addressed the entire base of rebels. He noticed that Kengetsu and Heize were part of the crowd, so that means Shurya village was now secured. "Rebels of Kuri, we have been fighting Yagura for the past year and a half now, as he believed that people with bloodlines should be killed. We have seen our fair share of both victory and defeat, but a major event is going to take place that will decide the winner and loser of this war. I now leave you with Darth Revan, as he is the one who came by the information as well as thought up a plan to counter it." Mei gave him a nod as she stepped down from the podium. "I am a mercenary that was brought in by your leader to help in your war efforts. I didn't do it for money but for the reason that war only brings about suffering. The information that I acquired through my own means state that Yagura is going to launch several fake attacks at these locations." Naruto gestured to multiple places on the giant map behind him. "However, the true target is this very base. Yagura plans to spread our forces out to thin and then smash us in one decisive blow." Mutterings started to break out among the crowd when Naruto had told them about Yagura's true intention. Many people started to question their chances in winning the war. But Naruto paused as he gave the crowd time to settle. "We have the element of surprise since Yagura believes that we don't know his true intention, so I have devised an ambush that would catch his army off guard. This open plain between both the bases is the perfect spot for it. The rebels will use earth jutsus to excavate the area underneath this plain into several tunnels. We will then line these tunnels with exploding tags that we will set off when they are crossing the field. In the midst of their confusion, we will attack from the surrounding forest." Silence reigned through the briefing room after Naruto had finished explaining his plan, until Kengetsu started to break out into laughter. "Ha! Another crazy plan, Revan? Don't worry, man, I got your back." "You have my support as well, Revan," Heize added as Naruto gave them a nod of acknowledgement. "You can count on us as well, Revan Taicho." The group of Jounin he had lead chorused as the rest of the crowd roared their approval of the plan. Naruto sighed in relief as he believed the most difficult part of the plan was getting the rebels to actually go along with his plan. He saw that Mei and Ao gave him nods of approval. He smiled under his helmet as he walked over to them. "Damn, I've heard of some crazy plans in my life, but this one really takes the cake. In my time, shinobi faced each other on the battlefield face to face." Ao ranted on again about the old days, causing Naruto and Mei to develop a common twitching eyebrow. "Ao, shut up or we'll kill you," they both said in unison with the same sickly sweet voice and smile, though you couldn't see Naruto's as he had his helmet on. "Sorry," Ao apologized with sweat running down his face and quickly running off while muttering under his breath again. "What did I say that time? I hope that the plan goes through smoothly, because if it doesn't then the shit will hit the fan so fast you won't even have time to blink." Naruto sighed as Mei gave him a comforting squeeze on his shoulder. "I'm sure everything will be fine, Naruto-kun. I trust your judgment." She smiled and used his real name to show that she had really meant what she said. "Arigato, Mei-chan, but I want you to promise me something." Naruto held her by her shoulders as he depolarized his visor so she could see his eyes. "What is it?" Mei asked, slightly nervous since she had never seen Naruto this serious before. "Promise me that when the battle starts you will stay as far away as possible from Yagura, and I, as we battle, do not interfere no matter how bad the situation looks. Do I make myself clear?" Naruto squeezed her shoulders slightly as he said this. Mei was silent as she thought about it. "I promise, as long as you promise me one thing." Mei looked him straight in the eyes as she talked. "Promise me that you will make it out of the battle safely and that you will return to me." Naruto's eyes softened as he heard her plea. He drew her into an awkward hug since he was still in his armor. I promise I will make it out alive. Mei-chan. Naruto released her from his hold before chuckling. Then maybe we can go on a date after the war has ended. We shall see, Naruto-kun. We shall see. Mei smirked sexily as she walked away with an extra sway in her hips, causing Naruto to stare dumbly for a moment before breaking out of it. God damn it, I lost again! Naruto shouted out loud. Mei snickered as she heard the shout and thought, don't mess with the best, Naruto-kun. 5 days later, day of battle. Naruto stood at the far end of the open plain in his armor, the black cloak flapping slightly as a small gust of wind blew through the area. Apparently this was part of the plan as well. He was to make sure the army stopped in the opportune spot where the maximum amount of casualties will be inflicted by the exploding tags. With the small amount of rebels that actually use earth element techniques, the tunnels had taken them 2 whole days to excavate with small breaks for meals. On the 3rd day, the tunnels were lined expertly with exploding tags, but these weren't normal tags. Naruto had used his rather impressive knowledge regarding Fuinjutsu to maximize their blast potential, making sure to take out more enemies with the blast radius. Spreading out his force awareness, he could feel Mei's presence in the dense jungle foliage towards the east of the open plain. Naruto knew the enemy won't be able to sense them since he had placed some chakra suppressor tags around the ambush area to make the rebels' chakra signature nearly unreadable. Let's see where the advancing army is, Naruto thought as he pushed his force awareness further out across the open plain. Just as he was about to reach his maximum range, he felt it. A large group of force presences moving in sync towards him. Yagura was the one in front as his force presence had a double layer to it. Naruto found out that all Jinchurikis would have a double layer feel in the force to him, the inner presence being the Biju, while the outer presence is the host. After a few more minutes, Naruto saw the approaching army with his own eyes and saw the look of surprise and confusion on many faces due to his presence. He waited until they were in the best position before he held out a hand to signal that they stop in their tracks. Yagura lifted an eyebrow but decided to humor him and gestured for the army to stop. Greetings, stranger, and who might you be? Yagura asked as he tried to sense the threat level of the black-clad person in front of him. My name? Well, you may call me Darth Revan. Naruto's voice had that metallic quality whenever he spoke through his helmet. Very well, Revan-san, would you mind explaining why you are here as well as why you told us to stop? Yagura narrowed his eyes at Naruto. I am here because my presence is needed here, Naruto answered in a cryptic fashion. As for why I told you to stop, I wish to give you a chance to stop this foolishness and live in harmony with the bloodline clans. Yagura was dumbfounded. This strange individual appeared out of nowhere and suddenly demanded that he stand down and live peacefully with the bloodline clans. The thought of it was so outrageous he couldn't help but laugh out loud. The rest of the army, seeing their leader laugh, decided to join in. You expect me to suddenly allow those scums back into our village when we have been at war for the past year? You must either be stupid or totally insane. Yagura spat after he stopped laughing. Is that your final decision? Naruto asked for confirmation. Of course it is. Now get out of our way before I crush you. Then may Shinigami-sama have mercy on your souls, Naruto replied without emotion as he found a single hand seal, causing Yagura to take a battle stance. I feel like I should say some really witty one-liner before this, something like art is a bang, or something along that line, but I don't really give a damn, so. Katsu. The majority of the army felt the ground rumble and give way underneath their feet before they were consumed by a gigantic explosion of fire and earth. At this moment, the rebels burst out of their hiding places and jumped in to engage the surviving members of the army, which was around 1/3 the original. You planned this. You're another bloodline-using scum, aren't you? A slightly singed but otherwise fine Yagura pointed accusingly at Naruto. What if I am? All you need to know is that I am your death. With that said, Naruto launched himself at Yagura with a right kick to his head. He was intercepted by Yagura's right hand. Yagura pushed the leg away and jumped back a few steps while running through multiple hand seals. Suetun, Suryuden no Jutsu. Water release, water dragon projectile technique. He shouted as a giant dragon of water materialized out of thin air and released a mighty roar. He has the same mastery over his water element as the Nidain? No, it must be the side effect of having the sandbai trapped inside him, Naruto thought absently as the water dragon lunged at him. He formed a grabbing motion with his hands, causing the water dragon to halt in mid-flight. Yagura felt his eyes widen when he saw the armored ninja gesture some more and send the water dragon right back at him. How did he do that? Is he a member of the Ryujui clan? No, even they can't wrest control of water jutsus from an expert water user such as myself. Also, I didn't sense any chakra usage when he did that. Yagura thought after he had jumped out of the way of his own technique. He ran through several more hand seals and took a deep breath. Suetun, Teppadama. Water release, gunshot. He spat out 3 consecutive balls of water, each with the diameter of a full-grown adult. Naruto merely stared on in boredom as he raised both his hands in a stopping motion, and the balls immediately paused in midair and dropped back onto the floor as puddles. "What the hell are you doing to my techniques?" Yugura roared in frustration as he launched several more water bullets at Naruto, who just disposed of them in the same fashion. Bloodline. Naruto offered, simply causing Yugura to ground his teeth in anger before snapping his fingers, and 3 clones emerged from the puddles of water on the ground. They rushed Naruto and engaged in a furious taijutsu battle that looked more like a blurring of limbs and bodies to any spectators. The clones were attacking in coordination with the original Yugura. When Naruto dodged one fist, then there would be another attack coming from his blind spot. It was only thanks to the years of practice in honing his force senses that Naruto was able to dodge and successfully counter each and every strike. "Why can't I hit you?" Yugura shouted in anger as he leapt backward after Naruto had disposed of his water clones. "Is this all you have? Don't tell me you made Kage with these pathetic skills," Naruto taunted, causing Yugura's face to turn red from rage. "Don't belittle me." He ran through some hand seals. Suetun Baku Swishaha. Water release. Bursting water collision waves. Yugura spat out a torrent of water that covered the area around them. Naruto watched as the young Kage sped through more hand seals. Suetun, Tsunami o Okada no Jutsu. Water release. Raging tidal waves technique. Naruto whistled in approval as the water in the area gathered into several giant waves that were heading to his position. He quickly placed his hands together and started drawing on the force into his palms. The force quickly became visible as a swirling, distorted ball of energy within his hands. Naruto pulled back and thrust out his hands with palms opened. "Chikara no Taiho! Force cannon!" he shouted as a huge wave of force energy launched out from his palms and impacted into the oncoming tidal waves. The result was a spectacular explosion of water that rained back onto the ground. Naruto grinned at the slight look of fear in Yugura's eyes before it disappeared once he had reined in his emotions. "Looks like I have finally found a worthy opponent," Yugura mused as he ran through more hand seals. "More jutsus? Haven't you learned your lesson?" Naruto mocked him, but didn't like the smirk on the young Kage's face. "Oh, I did right on Kaminari Ransu. Lightning release, thunder lance." Yugura's smirk increased as he heard the armored figure cry out in pain as the jutsu hit him. The technique was meant to pierce, but it looked like the armor blocked it. "Son of a! I didn't know he could use lightning techniques." Naruto panted. Though the armor stopped it from piercing him, it also acted as a conductor and shocked his entire body. "You shouldn't have gotten cocky, Narukuin. Your force awareness would have normally sensed that attack coming, but you allowed your confidence to get the better of you." Kyubi chastised him from within the seal. "I know, Kyuchan," Naruto sighed mentally. "Okay, no more fooling around with this guy. Time to get serious." Mei had heard Naruto's cry of pain and turned to see his smoking form crouched in the water. She almost ran to help him but bit her lip when she remembered what she had promised. She took one last look at Naruto's rising form before turning around and leaping back into the battle. She would place her trust in him once more. "Guess I got a little overconfident there." Naruto coughed slightly as he dusted himself off before running through some hand seals. Yugura saw this and ran through his own. Futon de Tapa. Wind release, great breakthrough. Suetun, Dai Tapadama. Water release, great gunshot. The two techniques clashed in the middle and exploded in a spray of water and mist. The two combatants burst out of the mist and engaged once more in a taijutsu match. Naruto caught a right hook and countered with a high kick to Yugura's left shoulder but was blocked by his left arm. Naruto grinned as he pulled his left hand back and thrust it directly into Yugura's chest and released a powerful force push that knocked Yugura back a fair distance. Yugura coughed out a few drops of blood as he got back to his feet, only to see an armored fist make contact with his jaw that sent him flying into the air. Naruto used a force-enhanced leap to jump up to his aerial opponent and delivered a series of powerful blows before force blasting him back into the ground. Yugura groaned as he pulled his battered body back up as Naruto landed back on the ground. He quickly formed several Mizubushins to buy himself some time to catch his breath. Naruto raised a hidden eyebrow as he created several Kage Bushins of his own without hand seals to deal with the water clones. "Yugura, I'm giving you one last chance to step down from your position as Mizukage and leave peacefully," Naruto offered to the panting Kage. "You can go and die," Yugura panted out before a huge amount of yuki burst out of his body and his wounds and bruises started to heal. "I'm not done yet. Let me give you a taste of my true power." Yugura screamed in insane laughter as the yuki surrounded him completely in the tailed beast cloak with two chakra tails swishing behind him. "Shit, this just got way harder," Naruto cursed as he dodged an attempt to claw his head from his shoulders and leapt over a dual tail sweep that threatened to knock him down. Stay still, you little shit, so I can kill you! A demonic version of Yagura's voice exclaimed. That's not exactly the best offer I've heard, so I think I'll pass. Naruto deadpanned as he avoided an extended Yuki claw. Naruto retaliated with several force-enhanced punches and was glad that he was wearing armor or the Yuki would have burned his hands. Yagura coughed as each punch connected with his chest. He created several more Mizubushins with the tailed beast cloak surrounding them. Naruto cursed more colorfully as he began to dodge 4 times the amount of Yuki claws and tails. He soon started to get pissed as the assault didn't seem to let up. Okay, fuck it, I didn't want to use them, but you just pissed me off. Naruto shouted as he unsealed both his lightsabers, which he had named. The black blade with red glow he had named Shinku no Kage, Crimson Shadow, while the white blade with black glow he named Ten no Kage, Heaven's Shadow. Yagura felt fear rush through his system for some reason when he saw the armored ninja ignite 2 energy blades that looked like the Raijin sword of the Nidaime Hokage. He quickly sent his clones into attack while he ran through some hand seals to prepare for a jutsu. Naruto leaned to the right slightly as a Yuki-covered hand shot past the spot his head occupied a second ago. He swung his lightsaber in a rising slash and felt some resistance from the Yuki cloak before he slashed through the clone, and it dissolved back into water. So the Yuki is able to offer some form of resistance, eh? Naruto thought as he impaled another clone through the head as it rushed at him from the back and cut another one into 2. He suddenly sensed danger coming from his left, and turned to see Yagura finish his final hand seal with a smug grin. Let's see you try and stop my ultimate jutsu! Yagura shouted as the water on the ground and in the atmosphere gathered above him and formed the gaping maw of a giant dragon first, and then proceeded to form the rest of the serpent-like body, and 2 translucent wings fanned out across the sky. The fighting across the area paused for a moment as everyone stared slack-jawed at the colossal dragon of water. Nobody had ever seen Yagura use this technique before. Suetun, Kushitsu swear you know Sai Shuhandan. Water release. Final judgment of the Imperial Water Dragon. Yagura shouted in maniacal glee as the massive dragon flew up into the sky and with a roar dive-bombed in a spiraling fashion towards Naruto. Son of a Naruto sighed just before the dragon slammed into him and exploded with the force of 100 exploding tags. The force of the impact and the blast caused the water and dirt in the vicinity to kick up in a cloud. No Mei whispered as her face paled when she had seen the devastating technique smash right into the boy no man who had managed to capture her heart despite only being around her for a week or so. The rebels all paled as they saw their only hope of defeating Yagura get struck by the massive water dragon, while the Kiri army cheered for their leader's victory. Yagura himself was panting heavily since that jutsu used almost all of his chakra that he had left. He laughed in triumph until a voice sounded across the field. What's so funny, you piece of shit? The demonized metallic voice asked as the smoke cleared to reveal Naruto standing there. His armor was badly damaged in places. The shocking thing was the tailed beast cloak covering his entire armored figure, and it seemed to be repairing the damages made to the armor as well. The Yuki formed 2 rabbit-like ears atop his head, and 2 swishing red Yuki tails behind him. Why, you're a host too? Yagura shook in fear as he knew only one Biju who had that appearance, the strongest of them all, the Kyuubi no Yoko. Why yes, I am surprised. I didn't even plan on using Kyuchan's Yuki, but I probably wouldn't even be standing here if I didn't use it. Damn, that jutsu packed plenty of power, great job creating it. Naruto growled, but Yagura was too afraid to notice the affectionate way Naruto addressed the Kyuubi. I can't believe you took that head on and can still move. What are you? A monster? Yagura stepped back slightly as a huge wave of killing intent burst out of the demonic armored figure. You have the nerve to call me a monster? You, who killed hundreds of innocent men, women and children just because they possessed a Kekii Genkai. No, Yagura, it is you who are the monster. And your time has come. Naruto snarled as he pointed Shinku no Kage at him. No, never. I refuse to lose to you. I am the youngest to ever make Kage in history. I won't lose to you. Feel my power! Yagura roared as he transformed fully into the Sanbai no Kaide game, causing all fighting to cease as everyone turned and fled the area for fear of being caught in the crossfire. Mei was at first elated when she saw Naruto emerge from the attack relatively unharmed, but that turned into fear as she saw Yagura take on his most powerful form. She wanted to stay and support him but knew that she would only get in the way. This was a fight between 2 beings of great power, and she could only hope Naruto was the victor. Damn, that's a big turtle, Naruto deadpanned as he looked up at the gigantic 3-tailed turtle that Yagura had transformed into. The transformed Yagura let a sonic roar that would have sent Naruto flying like the trees around him had he not applied chakra to his feet. Naruto was forced to leap to the side as a gigantic armored tail smashed into the ground he was previously occupying, and jumped again when another tail headed for his position. The final tail shot at him while he was airborne. He twisted to the side and grabbed onto the tail as it shot past him. He pulled himself up onto the tail, and ran down it on all fours as he tried to get to the head. Yugura shook himself to try and dislodge Naruto from his back. "Wow, down boy!" Naruto joked as he held onto the shell with his Yuki claws and shot off towards the head, while dodging the 3 swinging tails that threatened to knock him off. Upon reaching the head, Naruto ignited both his lightsabers again and spun them around once. "I said down!" Naruto roared as he plunged both lightsabers up to their hilts into the armored head of the transformed Yugura and then pulling them out and forced leaping back to the ground. Yugura let out a roar of pain as the giant turtle stumbled backwards before focusing a hateful glare at the Force user. Yugura gathered water and chakra into his mouth before launching 2 spheres of water straight at Naruto, who quickly used the Force to knock them off target slightly. "I'm done playing a fool with you," Naruto growled as he turned off both lightsabers and resealed them into their respective storage seals. He concentrated and called on as much Force power as possible to gather in and around him. The dirt kicked up as a blue aura spiraled around his form. Yugura could sense his growing power and quickly launched all 3 of his tails at him in a bid to stop him from gathering more power. "Too late," Naruto whispered as he held out both hands in front of him and caught all 3 tails in a Force grasp and pushed them back to Yugura. He then used the Force to grab the turtle's head and slam it repeatedly into the ground, causing it to go into a slight daze. Naruto raised both hands to his shoulder height, causing all the kunai, shuriken, rocks, and even trees in the area to levitate off the ground. He gestured towards the gigantic form of Yugura, and immediately all of those objects shot off as improvised projectiles that pierced, cut, smashed, and impaled him. Naruto breathed in deeply and exhaled as he fought to lift his arms as if there was a great weight on them. Both sides watched on in awe as the massive turtle was lifted into the air inch by inch. Naruto was starting to pant as he inverted Yugura so that his head was pointed at the floor and slammed it into the floor once, twice, and one final time before he let the body fall to the ground. Yugura let out a sound that was in between a growl and a groan as he hauled his giant turtle form back to its feet. He once again charged chakra and water into his mouth. Naruto frowned when he saw this and lifted out his right hand in a closed fist, causing Yugura to be unable to open his mouth. With nowhere to go, the condensed sphere of water chakra exploded inside the unarmored mouth of its user. The giant turtle started to choke on the water before managing to hack it all out. He turned to face his opponent. Naruto had gathered Force energy over both his arms, causing them to crackle with purplish blue lightning that raced up and down the length of his entire arm. He pointed both hands at the massive form of Yugura with fingers splayed out and unleashed a torrent of the deadly purplish blue lightning right at him. Yugura howled in pain as the lightning coursed through his entire system. It felt like both his body and soul were being electrocuted by the strange lightning. Naruto was panting as he stopped his barrage for a second. The smoking form of the giant turtle tried once more to rise in a last-ditch attempt. Naruto shrugged as he let loose another stream of Force lightning at Yugura, who once again started howling in pain from the lightning. Suddenly the massive turtle form started to shrink and shift back into the scorched and damaged body of its young host. Naruto extinguished the lightning on both his arms and walked towards the body. Yugura noticed from the corner of his eye the approaching form of the armored individual and smiled slightly. Naruto was confused as he saw the smile. "Why are you smiling?" Naruto asked, his voice having turned back to normal after he reined back in Kyuubi's Yuki. "You cough managed to cough break the hold cough the genjutsu had on me," Yugura coughed out, causing Naruto to gasp in surprise. "I was right. Who placed this genjutsu on you? It has to be someone strong since you couldn't break free of it, and no one noticed it." Naruto's hand glowed green with healing chakra but was stopped by Yugura's hand. "Stop cough I will tell you cough the name of this person cough just promise me cough one thing," Yugura wheezed. "Alright, just let me heal you first," Naruto was interrupted by Yugura. "No cough it's alright cough I can't face my people cough after what I've done," he rasped out as a frown appeared on Naruto's face, but he accepted the dying Jinchuriki's wish. "I want you to cough find someone strong cough to lead Kirigakure after cough I'm gone, someone like cough Terumi May cough yes she will cough make a fine leader." Yugura smiled slightly. "I will make sure of that now. Who was it?" Naruto asked again. "His name cough is Uchiha Madara," Yugura whispered, causing Naruto's and Kyuubi's eyes to widen at the name. Flashback no jutsu. Kyuchan, a 7-year-old Naruto called out after they were done training for the day within his mindscape. "Yes, Kit?" Kyuubi replied as she turned to look at him. "Why did you attack the village?" Naruto asked. "Well, Kit, I guess it's time I told you about it," Kyuubi sighed. "When your mother was giving birth to you, The seal containing me inside her was at its weakest, and somebody found out about that. A man wearing an orange spiral mask and a black cloak with red clouds on it attacked at the moment of your birth. He held you hostage and forced your father to decide between you or your mother. What happened then? Naruto was entranced by the retelling of the events. Your father chose to save you first, but the masked man had escaped with your mother already. He somehow managed to drag me out of the seal. I was about to attack him when he looked at me with that eye, an eye I did not expect to see ever again. Kyuubi paused to shiver. The eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, he used the power of that eye to send me into a genjutsu-influenced bloodlust that caused me to attack the village and your parents. What's the name of the man that did that? Naruto asked with traces of anger in his voice. His name is Uchiha Madara. Flashback no Jutsu Ki. Uchiha Madara, Naruto growled under his breath. It seemed like that guy was behind everything bad that happened in the shinobi world. Yes, cough, now do me cough, a favor, Yagura pleaded. Ask. Naruto replied simply. End it quickly for me, please. Yagura miraculously managed to not cough during that sentence. Fine. Naruto sighed as he unsealed Shinku no Kage and ignited it. The black blade with red glow sprung to life with a familiar snap hiss. He positioned it directly above where Yagura's heart would be and plunged it straight in. Sanbai no Yagura died then with a peaceful smile on his face. There is no death. There is only the Force, Naruto whispered as he resealed his lightsaber. May you find peace within the Force, brother. With that said, Naruto noticed the faint green chakra leaking out of the seal on Yagura's stomach and towards the nearby forest. He smiled slightly as it seemed his hunch about the Sanbai escaping was proven correct. The Kiri army immediately surrendered after watching their leader die at the hands of the guy who just manhandled him in his Sanbai form. Now it was the rebels' turn to cheer in victory as they tied up all the enemy troops and lead them back to the base. A small group of people made their way towards Naruto. Damn Revan, you just totally manhandled Yagura in his three-tailed state. Kengetsu shouted out what everyone was thinking as Naruto turned around with a chuckle. My real name is Naruto, just don't go spreading that around, alright? Naruto told the group, which consisted of Mei, Ao, Kengetsu and Heize. Well then, Naruto, that would definitely be a battle to tell any of my future children about. Heize smiled as he shook Naruto's hand. He's right, that has to be the most amazing fight I've seen my entire life. And I've seen some really good fights in my life. I remember this one time when this IWA Jounin fought this Ao went off on another one of his rants, causing both Mei's and Naruto's eyebrows to twitch again. Ao, shut up or we'll kill you. Both of them said together with the sickly sweet smile and tone, causing Ao to pale and shut up immediately while everyone else just burst out in laughter. Well, Naruto-kun, the war has ended thanks to you, Mei said. Naruto removed his helmet and revealed his face, causing everyone but Mei to gasp in surprise. You're that young? Kengetsu exclaimed in surprise, once again voicing aloud everyone's thoughts. Yes, I am. Naruto deadpanned at the weird statement. And you can own a Kage-level opponent? Kengetsu waved his arms about as if trying to get the point across. I train a lot and eat healthily? Naruto offered jokingly as everyone's sweat dropped. Mei-chan, Yagura wanted me to tell you something. Naruto's tone turned serious. What was it? Mei asked in confusion. He wants you to be the new Mizukage, and he says he's sorry for everything he has done when he was under the influence of the Genjutsu. Naruto replied, causing everyone's eyes to bug out at the information. After a few minutes of explaining about Yagura's previous situation, while leaving out the part where Madara was the one who planted the Genjutsu, Mei pondered it for a while. I accept the title of Mizukage, Mei finally announced, and everyone gave her their support. Well, now that my services are no longer needed here, I guess I will head back to my village. Naruto sighed sadly as everyone was saddened at the thought of their hero leaving. Couldn't you stay a few more days? Mei asked hopefully, causing Naruto to rub his chin in thought. Well, it's not like I have anything important to do back in Konoha, so I guess I can stay for 2 or 3 more days, he decided as Kengetsu cheered and slapped him heartily on the back. That's great. By the way, Naruto-kun, I accept that date you offered last week. Mei winked at him and walked off, leaving a stunned Naruto and gaping group of guys until Kengetsu broke them out of it. Damn man, can you say score? Kengetsu laughed as he slapped Naruto on the back again. Back in Konoha, Mikoto entered the council chambers to find that everyone except the Hokage was there. She knew what she was here for thanks to Tsum for her advance warning. Uchiha Mikoto, we of the council has deemed it fit that you find a husband by the next 5 days or you will be engaged to Mizuki. Hamura gestured to the silver-haired Chunin with a smug smile on his face. Mikoto restrained herself from ripping it off his face, at least for the moment. For what reason does the council want me to find a husband so quickly after I lost my last one? Mikoto asked to keep up the act. Since your son is not yet at the correct age to produce offspring, the duty falls to you first to repopulate the Uchiha clan, Danzo replied. And if I do not concede to your wishes? Mikoto narrowed her eyes at the council members. Then we will strap you down and have Mizuki impregnate you, Danzo offered, simply causing Mikoto to gasp in fear and several killing intents to be directed at him, but he just shrugged it off. Fine, I will find a candidate by the end of the week. Mikoto conceded, since she would be raped if she didn't comply, and left the council chambers with Sim directly behind her. That one-eyed bandaged old bastard better watch himself, because if I don't tear him apart, I know Hayashi will. Sim growled. It was common knowledge that the current head of the Hyuga household hated rapists with a passion. His late wife had on one occasion nearly been raped by Kumo ninjas when she was pregnant with Hinata. I can't believe the council would go to such lengths just to make sure the Sharingan doesn't die out, Mikoto sighed in disbelief as the duo walked to a dango shop to get something to eat. You going ahead with your plan? Sim asked as they sat down and ordered 2 plates of dangos. It's the only choice I have. I only hope that he will accept after he finds out, Mikoto said quietly. Don't worry, if he is anything like you told me, then he will definitely accept it. Sim pet her on the back comfortingly. With Danzo. What is the condition of the patient? Danzo asked the root medic that was just done examining the comatose body of Uzumaki Kushina. I'm sorry, sir, but she still doesn't show any sign of responding to the medical jutsus we are trying on her. Not even our best medic has been able to get the slightest movement out of her, the root medic reported as he read from his clipboard. Damn it, why aren't any of our methods working? Danzo ground his teeth in frustration as he needed Kushina to be awake so he could use the death of her husband as a means to turn her into an emotionless root member. If that didn't work, he could always lie and say her son didn't survive the sealing as well, but all the planning went down the drain just because she wouldn't wake up. Keep trying different techniques and let me know if there are any changes. Also keep things as strict as possible. If Hiruzen, or even worse the Jinchuriki, finds out we have been holding her here, then even Kami won't be enough to save us. Danzo ordered the root medic as he turned to leave the room. By your will, Danzo-sama. The root medic saluted as Danzo left. Some hidden location somewhere. A man with an orange spiral mask wearing a black cloak with red clouds on it tensed slightly. The orange spiky-haired male beside him noticed it. What is it, Madara? The orange-haired male asked. Someone seems to have broken my connection with my puppet, Madara replied in an annoyed tone. Is it that serious of an issue? The male asked with an eyebrow raised. Not really, I expected someone to kill him eventually, but this is way faster than I imagine, Madara admitted as he watched the rain fall outside the tower. So we still move according to schedule? The male turned to look at Madara, revealing a light purple iris with a ripple-like pattern surrounding the pupil. Correct, have you gathered 10 members like I asked you to, Pain? Madara addressed the orange-haired male. I only have 6 candidates so far, Pain replied. Hopefully more promising candidates will appear in time. Yes, all in time, Madara whispered as the pair silently listened to the dripping rain. Naruto sighed as he got ready for his date with Mei. Why was he sighing when he had a date with one of the most beautiful and sexiest females in the elemental nations? Well, that's because Kyubi has been refusing to talk to him after he had informed her that he was going on a date with Mei, and he didn't know why. Clueless. Why has Kyuchan been ignoring me since I told her about my date? Naruto thought sadly as he missed conversing with the beautiful red-haired demoness sealed within him. Was it something I said? Naruto sighed again as he looked at his reflection in the mirror. He was wearing a black t-shirt with a matching pair of black jeans. That was all he had for casual attire at the moment, since he came to Kiri to fight a war, not to attend a fancy dress party. He just hoped Mei would understand and not melt him with her lava techniques or acidic steam. It has been a day since the war ended with Yugura's death at the hands of himself. The group decided it was best not to inform the public about Yugura being under an illusion. The Kiri army had quickly pledged their loyalty to Mei, the new Mizukage, as they didn't want to anger the guy who trashed a Biju. So repair works have gone underway with both the bloodline clans and non-bloodline clans working together like they were supposed to. Naruto's presence as Darth Revan ensured that. Naruto had a small smile on his face as he walked down the streets of Kirigakure. While repair works were far from being completed, the village definitely looked better than it had during the war. As he walked towards the general direction of the building that Mei was temporarily staying in, the people on the streets waved a cheery greeting to him with smiles on their faces. Despite his initial protests, Mei had somehow convinced him to show Kiri the true face of their savior. At first everyone was shocked to see such a young face behind the menacing helmet of Darth Revan, but that quickly changed into cheers of admiration and thanks. The civilians here were among the most grateful as they suffered a lot during the bloodline purges and they showed their gratitude by thanking him at every opportunity. Naruto thought back to the previous day's announcement of Mei as the Godame Mizukage. Flashback no Jutsu. People of Kirigakure. After a year of fighting and bloodshed, the war has finally ended, and we can live our lives peacefully under a new leader. Everyone, I present to you our Godame Mizukage, Terumi Mei. The announcer left the stage as Mei took his place. The crowd were cheering and clapping as she placed the Mizukage's hat on her head. Citizens of Kirigakure, shinobi and civilians alike. I, Terumi Mei, promise to return our village to its former glory and with your help, to show the rest of the hidden villages that we are stronger than ever. Mei felt a sense of pride rush through her as the crowd roared their approval. I thank you all for your support, but there is one person who we should all thank more than anyone else. The person who is responsible for ending the war and defeating Sanbai no Yagura by himself. I give to you Darth Revan. Mei clapped along with the crowd as the armored form of Darth Revan made its way onto the stage beside her. Mei gestured to the mic, signaling he should address the village as well. As most of you should know by now, I am not a resident of Mizu no Kuni. My homeland is Hai no Kuni, Fire Country, or to be more specific Kanehigakure, Hidden Leaf Village. I had overheard the conversation between the Sandaime Hokage and Mei-chan, and I heard the old man decline her request for help. Naruto paused as the crowd seemed to mutter about selfish old leaders. So I approached her and extended my services for free as I believe that you all were fighting for a noble cause. However, there is another reason for me, something more personal. I know the feeling of being discriminated, the feeling of being hunted down just because you are different than everybody else, the sadness, sorrow and confusion when people call you names such as freak or monster. Naruto whispered sadly as the bloodline half of the crowd nodded in understanding while the people that originally persecuted them hung their heads in shame. I was rescued from my personal hell by 3 of my precious people, so I couldn't stand by when other people were suffering the same fate as me. Villagers of Kirigakure, please do not reveal the information I am about to share with you with anyone outside the village, even if they are your friends or relatives. My alias is Darth Revan, but my real name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto removed his helmet as everyone gasped at the name, even Mei, as he had not told her. And I'm the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko. Flashback no Jutsu Ki. After he had announced his secret to the entire village, he proceeded to share the story of his life so far in Konoha, every single beating down to the last detail. He wasn't trying to scare them, he just wanted them to realize that he understood how they felt. The entire population had suggested razing Konoha to the ground for what they had done to their hero, shocking Naruto by their hatred towards his village. Naruto was so lost in his memories that he didn't notice he was already standing in front of Mei's doorstep until a total of 5 minutes had passed. Quickly regaining his bearings, Naruto rapped his knuckle on the wooden door 3 times and stepped back to wait. He heard shuffling footsteps approaching the door, and the lock being undone before the door opened. Hey Mei-chan, I hope you don't mind my attire because this was all I brought with me to Kiri. Naruto smiled apologetically as Mei gave a small giggle. That's quite alright Naruto-kun, we aren't going anywhere fancy. Just a quick bite somewhere and maybe a stroll around Kiri's park. Mei stepped out and locked the door while Naruto took the time to appreciate her figure. She was out of her normal attire consisting of the fishnet bodysuit and ocean blue dress. Instead she wore a dark blue tank top and a snug pair of faded blue jeans. The tank top hugged her natural curves and accentuated her cleavage while the jeans conformed to her long, slim legs and showed off her firm ass. With her hair flowing down naturally, Naruto had to use all his will not to get propelled down the street by a nosebleed and to keep his friend from waking up. Maybe you should take a picture Naruto-kun, it might last longer. Mei suggested in amusement, knocking Naruto out of his trance as he rubbed his head sheepishly. Sorry Mei-chan, you just look so sexy in that outfit. Naruto replied honestly but shivered slightly when he saw Mei's smile turn into a devious smirk. Oh really? I think I look much sexier without any clothes on, want to see? Mei asked innocently as she lifted her tank top slightly, and that was too much for poor Naruto's brain to handle as he fainted with a trickle of blood coming from his nose. After shaking him awake, the couple decided to grab a bite at a random roadside store that sold all kinds of food. Naruto had ordered a bowl of Niku Udon while Mei settled for a plate of deep-fried tempura. They talked about the rebuilding of Kiri and what were the most important facilities that needed to be rebuilt. I believe the hospital should still be perfectly fine since it wasn't damaged during the war, so the next important structure would be either the Mizukage Tower or the Ninja Academy. Mei listed off from her mind as she took another bite of the tempura prawn within the grasp of her chopstick. In my opinion, the academy should be the main priority since many good shinobi were lost during the war, so you need to start training the next generation. I personally think Hayes would make a great instructor since he has the skill and patience to teach and handle children, Naruto suggested while thinking of the Jounin being surrounded by little kids. I agree. I guess I should speak with him regarding the matter, and if he accepts then I shall have him be the headmaster of the academy. Mei decided and was about to take another bite when the piece of tempura floated out of her reach. She pouted at Naruto, who just took one look at her face and chuckled. Just like Anakin and Padme, nervous face. I stand by my statement that you look cute when you pout, Naruto said as he used the force to float the piece of tempura back to Mei, who bit it right out of the air. They continued chatting but now about non-ninja related things while Naruto used the force to float the pieces of tempura to her mouth where she ate them. The store owner chuckled as he saw this, drawing the attention of both ninjas at the stand and looked at him curiously. The both of you look almost like a real couple with you feeding her, although the method of doing so is a first for me. The Own chuckled further as both mentioned parties blushed but smiled and continued their actions. We now find the pair strolling through the main park of Kiri hand in hand as they admired the scenery. They were not alone as many other couples were doing the same as well. Mei let out a sigh of contentment as she rested her head against Naruto's shoulder as they sat down on a park bench. This was my favorite place before the war started. My father always used to bring me here and tell me stories about my mother. Mei had a soft smile on her face as she reminisced about her past. What happened to your mother? Naruto asked as nuzzled the top of her head and inhaled the scent of her hair. She smelled like an ocean breeze. She died when I was only a year old. Apparently she had an incurable disease and my birth was too much for her system to handle, so she died a year later. Mei sniffed slightly as Naruto gave her a squeeze to comfort her. My dad always used to say I look so much like my mom, almost a perfect replica. Then your mom must have been beautiful. What was her name? Naruto asked. Her name was Megumi Uzumaki Megumi. Mei chuckled slightly at the surprised look on Naruto's face. Surprised? I was too when you first told me your real name. So your mother was from the Uzumaki clan, Naruto mused as he stroked her hair absent-mindedly, something that Mei enjoyed greatly since no one had done that since her father had died at the start of the bloodline purges. A/N. The war started a year ago, but the bloodline purges had been going on for several. It was only a year ago did they start fighting back. Mei trailed off as a depressing thought suddenly came to mind. Naruto immediately noticed the change and inquired about it. Hey, what's wrong, Mei-chan? It's just this has been great, Naruto, the most fun I've had in a while, but Mei bit her lip as tears threatened her vision. Come on, whatever it is you can tell me. Naruto tried to coax it out of her, and finally succeeded. You're going back to your village, and I might never see you again. Mei blurted out, suddenly causing Naruto to go wide-eyed. Baka, is that all you were worried about? I can come see you anytime I want. Do you honestly think anyone could stop me? Naruto tilted her head upwards as he spoke to her. You really mean it? Mei asked hopefully as Naruto gave her a small smile. How about I show you? Naruto whispered as he closed the gap between them and captured her lips in a soft but firm kiss. Mei gasped lightly but quickly melted into the kiss and returned with as much vigor. She pouted slightly as he pulled away. Does that prove my sincerity? Naruto kissed her on the forehead this time as she let out a small giggle. It certainly did. Still can't grasp the fact you're 8 years old though, Mei admitted. Well, when you live a childhood like mine, you'd be amazed how quickly your mind matures to keep you alive, but enough with the gloom and doom atmosphere. It's getting late, and I believe you should be getting home, Mizuki-sama. Naruto joked as he swept her off her feet and carried her bridal style, prompting an eep out of the shocked female. Warn me before doing something like that next time. Mei slapped him on the arm lightly as Naruto carried her back to her room. Is that an order, Mizuki-sama? Naruto asked in an amused tone as Mei slapped him on the arm again. And stop with that Mizuki-sama crap, it makes me feel old. Anything for you, Mei-chan. Naruto laughed as he suddenly increased his speed, causing Mei to hold on to him tightly. Eventually they arrived back at Mei's doorstep, where Naruto gently led her back onto her feet. I really enjoyed myself today, Naruto. Mei sighed, but Naruto drew her in a hug. No sighing, Mei-chan. He reprimanded lightly. I may be leaving tomorrow morning, but I promise I will visit from time to time. I know. I guess I'll see you off tomorrow morning, night, Naruto. Mei gave him a small peck on the lips before entering her room and closing the door. Naruto had a smile on his face as he walked back to the apartment Mei had provided him with during his short stay in Kiri. Naruto closed and locked the door behind him before flopping down onto the bed in his room. He thought about all he had done the past week. He sighed as he wondered if anything interesting had happened during his absence in Konoha, since he hadn't gotten any memories that meant the clone was still alive. Mentally shrugging, Naruto rolled onto his side and drifted off into sleep. Mindscape. Naruto opened his eyes to spot the familiar surroundings of his mindscape. He was in the forest that surrounded Kyuubi's house. He made his towards the house he himself had designed that was situated in the middle of the forest. Upon entering the house, Naruto heard the sound of someone crying, and while there was only one possible person in the house besides himself, he immediately sprinted up the stairs and slammed open the door to Kyuubi's bedroom and found the beautiful demoness sobbing her heart out into a pillow. "Kyu-chan!" Naruto exclaimed in worry as he rushed to her side and tried to pull her into a hug, but she pushed him away. "Why are you crying, Kyu-chan?" Naruto asked in a soft tone as he sat on the edge of the bed. He reached out a hand and placed it on her shoulder. Kyuubi flinched at the contact but didn't try to pull away. Naruto slowly moved his hand to her back and started to rub it soothingly. "What's wrong? Why you can now what's wrong?" Kyuubi managed to get out through her hiccuping sobs, causing Naruto to adopt a look of confusion. "I do?" he asked as Kyuubi broke down again. Naruto quickly pulled her into a hug. Kyuubi initially tried to push him off but gave up halfway and just cried onto his shoulder. "I'm sorry, Kyu-chan, but I don't understand. Was it something I said?" "And no," Kyuubi mumbled but thought. "It's something you didn't say, but I would wish for nothing more to hear from you. Please tell me what I did wrong, Kyu-chan. You know I can't stand to see you cry." Naruto squeezed her shoulders gently as she whispered something under her breath. "What is it?" "Why?" It was clearer this time, but the word confused Naruto. "What do you mean by why?" Naruto was really puzzled by her behavior. "Tell me why." Her voice was normal now as she tried to control her sobs. "I don't understand what you mean. Why did you pick her? Why not me? Why can't I have a happy ending? Why do I have to feel this way about you? Why don't you love me?" Kyuubi's voice lowered at the last part as she grabbed the front of Naruto's shirt in a vice-like grip as tears streaked down her face from her crimson pupils. "Why must I be alone?" To say Naruto was shocked would be an understatement. The mighty Kyuubi no Yoko, queen of the tailed beasts in hell, the most beautiful and sexiest woman he had ever seen, loved him. Now Naruto was by no means gay. If you think he was not attracted to her, he definitely was attracted to her. "Kyu-chan," Naruto used a hand to wipe away the tear marks on her face. "Is it because I'm a demon? Or am I not attractive enough?" Kyuubi asked softly as she looked at anywhere except Naruto. "Kyu-chan, look at me," Naruto said seriously. "I don't give a damn if you're a demon, and I told you before that you are the most beautiful woman on this planet." "Then why don't you love me?" Kyuubi wailed as her tears sprung forth again. "But I do love you, damn it!" Naruto shouted as he shook her by the shoulders. She froze on the spot upon hearing that. What?" Kyuubi asked hesitantly as if she was afraid that she had misheard it. "I love you." Naruto emphasized each word. "Then why didn't you tell me? Do you think admitting my feelings for you is easy? You are the Kyuubi, queen of the Bijus in hell. Why would someone as beautiful as you choose me when there are so many better guys out there?" Naruto trailed off with a sigh. "Naruto, there is no better man out there than you. You are strong, brave, handsome and smart, but you are also kind, compassionate, and caring to those you care about. That's why I kept asking myself, why would someone as wonderful as you show any interest in me, and seeing you with May just confirmed it." Kyuubi sniffed slightly. "Kyu-chan, I told you I don't care that you're a demon or if you did anything terrible in the past. I don't care about any of that because in my eyes," Naruto smiled as he drew closer to her. "You're perfect just the way you are." Naruto pressed his lips against hers in a passionate kiss. He pushed all the repressed emotions he held into the kiss. Kyuubi couldn't believe that Naruto was kissing her, but her stunned state lasted only a moment before she returned the kiss with equal passion. Naruto didn't know that much about kissing but went with his instincts. He licked her lower lip to ask her entrance to her mouth. Kyuubi opened her mouth in reflex and invited his tongue in to engage in a heated battle for dominance that Naruto won. She moaned as he drew her tongue into his own mouth and sucked on it. They eventually had to separate, leaving behind a trail of saliva that connected their lips. Kyuubi moved beside Naruto and nuzzled deeper into his embrace. "Hey Kyu-chan?" Naruto called her name. "What is it, Naruto?" Kyuubi looked up at her blonde-haired lover. "What about Mei-chan?" Naruto asked in worry. "I love you, but I don't want to hurt her, and I think I'm starting to fall for her too. I don't know what to do. As much as I'd love to have you for myself, Koi, love, I know it'd be unfair to other girls. Besides, I think I just remembered something that would help," Kyuubi said. "You do? What is it?" "Isn't there some kind of law in every village stating that the last member of a bloodline clan has to take multiple wives so to restore the clan? Technically you are the last person able to use your bloodline, so Kyuubi let him figure it out from there, which didn't take long as his eyes widened in realization. I have to take multiple wives, but won't you or may mind sharing me? Naruto didn't want to do something that would make her sad. I already said no matter how much I'd want you all for myself, it wouldn't be fair to Mei as well as others. It is also common practice for male demons of high ranking to take multiple mates. Kyubi gave him a peck on the cheek. But that's for being so considerate about my feelings. I guess if it's alright with you then I could give it a shot, but only if the girls love me for me genuinely. Naruto looked at the demoness he was holding. And I promise to get you out of this seal as soon as possible. I honestly don't care as long as I'm with you, but being on the outside again would be nice. However, I believe you should be getting some shut-eye for your trip back to Konoha tomorrow. Kyubi pulled him down with her onto her bed and used his chest as her pillow. Naruto placed an arm around her waist and pulled her against him. She responded by snuggling into his chest. Naruto closed his eyes as he thought of all the future challenges that would be as hard or harder than the fight against Yagura, but for the moment, with Kyubi in his arms, he was content and complete, which was all that mattered. Naruto was back in his Darth Revan armor as he stood atop Kiri's main gate. While he couldn't see anything due to the dense mist for which the village was named after, he enjoyed the cooling breeze as well as the fresh air. Enjoying the scenery? A feminine voice asked from beside him. He turned his head slightly to see the smiling face of Mei. Now I am. Naruto replied with a chuckle that Mei mirrored with her own. He suddenly sighed. Mei, there's something I need to tell you. You may hate me for this. What is it, Naruto? Mei stepped towards him and gently took his gloved hand. Do you remember about the Kyubi being female? Naruto asked, at which he got a nod from her. I can't think of an easy way to say this, so she and I are in love with each other, and admitted it last night inside the mindscape, so we are lovers now. What? Mei blinked in confusion before her gaze turned away from him. So what does that mean about us? Nothing, my Kiri no Tenchi, Angel of the Mist. Kyu-chan informed me that village laws demand I have multiple wives since I am the last clan member of a bloodline clan. She said that she was fine with it, so how about why Naruto was cut off as Mei pulled off his helmet and kissed him on the lips. I'm fine with it as well, as long as I have you, I don't mind sharing, Mei said after pulling back from the kiss. Thanks, Mei-chan. Naruto smiled as he pecked on the lips. No problem, Naruto, besides this way we can have a threesome, Mei exclaimed, suddenly causing Naruto to be propelled off the gate by a massive nosebleed, as well as several other males that happened to be passing under the gate. After Naruto had recovered from his ordeal, he gave Mei one last kiss and was about to leap off into the mist when a shout for him to wait came from behind. He turned around and gaped under the helmet when he saw the majority of Kiri gathered at the gate. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Naruto's voice was once again the metallic tone of Darth Revan. What are you guys doing here? You think we let our hero leave without a proper send-off? Ao grinned as he held out a hand. Naruto grabbed it and shook hands with the man. You better drop by for a visit or I'll hunt you down and drag you here myself. Kangetsu bumped fists with him. Don't worry, I will. Naruto nodded as he turned to Haze. You would do great as an academy instructor. I can't wait to see the future genins of Kiri. I assure you they will be the best batch ever. Haze shook his hand as well. I guess I will be heading off now. Everyone take care, and I promise to visit regularly. Naruto gave Mei a hug before he turned and ran off as the people of Kiri shouted their thanks and well wishes after him. 2 hours later, near border of Hai no Kuni. Naruto paused in mid-stride as he sensed a disturbance in the force. It seemed to be coming from the border between Hai no Kuni and Shichi no Kuni, land of Earth. Seems like someone is in trouble, and I guess I'll go see what's happening. Damn my sense of curiosity. Naruto sighed as he changed direction and dashed off using the force to enhance his speed. Upon arriving at the origin of the feeling, Naruto spotted 4 IWA Jounins advancing on a purple-haired, Nico-masked ANBU member that was wielding a katana. On closer inspection, he noticed that she was already injured with cuts along her arms and legs and looked extremely tired. Looking around the field, he noticed the bodies of 3 IWA Jounins and 2 Konoha ANBU members, so there must have been a confrontation. Half an hour earlier, Yugogo's squad had been assigned to border patrol for the day. She sighed as border patrol was one of the worst tasks for an ANBU to perform because almost nothing interesting happens. They had left the village an hour ago and started out from the west of Hai no Kuni in a counterclockwise direction. Taka reporting in, border between us and Shichi no Kuni seems clear. Yugogo was knocked out of her thought by Taka's report over the squad radio. Nico confirming report, return to our position, Taka. Yugogo replied over the radio as she continued hopping through the trees with Boar and Mouse just behind her. Taka returning and SHIT. His reply descended into static after that outburst, causing the trio to pause. Taka, what happened? Taka, report in, damn it. Everyone head towards where we last felt his chakra presence. Yugogo shouted as they leapt away in the direction of Tsuchi no Kuni. After a few minutes of searching, they finally found Taka's bloody corpse impaled by multiple spears made of pure stone. Yugogo could feel the killing intent being released by her two squad members. She signaled them to calm down and stay together. Doton, Doriyusu! Earth release, rising stone spears! Cried out several voices as the trio leapt into the trees as the ground below them transformed into a mass of sharp stone spikes. Oh ho ho! Very good for Konoha scum, too bad your buddy was not as lucky as you. A gruff voice chuckled as 7 IWA Jounin stepped out from behind the trees. Damn, Yugogo muttered under her breath as she drew her katana and settled into a sword stance. Her squad mates drew out a kunai each and prepared to engage the enemy as well despite being severely outnumbered. You know that our squads were doing a routine border patrol when we started feeling bored, so I thought, why not hunt some Konoha scum to get some revenge for the third great ninja war? The guy who seemed to be the leader of the group laughed maniacally. Don't underestimate the strength of the shinobi of Konoha or you'll regret it, Yugogo said before disappearing in a blur and swinging her sword at neck height, but was blocked by another IWA Jounin using a kunai. Big words, but let's see you back them up. In IWA I am known as the Berserker Wolverine, and you'll find out why right now, he roared as 3 metal claws unsheathed from the gauntlets located on both his hands. He sprang at Yugogo with a flurry of wild swipes and slashes which she blocked easily with her katana but was forced to backpedal due to the force behind each blow. You may have the brute strength, but you lack any form of technique to your style, if you can even call it that. Yugogo taunted her enemy as it seemed to work because he started swinging even more crazily and randomly. She saw from the corner of her eye that Mouse had taken down her opponent before being stabbed in the back by another, while Boar had managed to take down 2 of his before being hit by an earth jutsu. Ha! Your squad is dead now and you're all alone. You know, if you surrender right now, I might consider letting you live as my slave. He grinned lecherously. I'd sooner die. Yugogo spat venomously but could feel her strength failing due to repeatedly blocking his strong blows, and her body was covered in cuts due to narrow misses. Oh well, can't say I didn't offer, so now do me the honor of dying by my claws. He shouted and swung a gauntlet claw down at her as she raised her katana in a weak defense. Yugogo closed her eyes as she thought this was going to be the end when she heard a sound and the guy in front of her grunt in pain. If there is one thing I really hate the most in this world, it would be rapists. At first I thought I would make your death quick, but after what you said to Nico-chan, you will suffer. A demonic metallic voice roared as Yugogo opened her eyes in time to see the black armored figure in front of her deck the guy in the face and send him crashing into a tree. Get him! The other IWA Jounin shouted as they charged at him with kunais drawn. The figure just stood there as a dark feeling started emanating from him. You dare to attempt to harm those precious to me, you dare to threaten them. My name is Darth Revan, and you shall remember it because that is the name of your executioner. Naruto shouted in anger as waves of dark energy radiated from him and all the Jounins dropped their weapons and clutched at their throats. Yugogo watched in awe as Revan held an entire group of Jounins at his mercy without even lifting a hand. It looked like they were being choked by an invisible force. Please have mercy. A random shinobi choked out, causing Naruto to chuckle darkly. Mercy? Mercy, you say? Ha 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 ha. Naruto grinned darkly under his mask. I'm sorry to inform you, but all out of mercy. Naruto increased the pressure on their necks as he said that. Multiple snaps could be heard echoing through the forest as 3 bodies dropped back onto the ground dead. Stay there, Nico-chan, I will get back to you when I'm done taking out the trash. Naruto growled as he strode towards the shaking figure of Iwa's so-called Berserker Wolverine. Nico-chan? So far only one person has called me that, but isn't he in the academy? Yugogo thought in confusion as she watched in interest. Stay away from me, why you whatever you are. The man shouted in fear as he pressed himself against the tree trunk behind him. You don't deserve a quick death such as your squad had. No, I have a more fitting end for you in mind. Naruto still had the dark grin on his face as he hauled him up with one hand and placed his other hand on the guy's face. You will be the first to taste my new power. Saikatsu High Sway. Life Drain. Yugogo watched in disgust as red lightning coursed through the man, and he suddenly started to age rapidly in front of her very eyes. Soon the body was nothing but a shriveled mummy that turned to dust. Sorry you had to see that, Nico-chan. The metallic voice shifted into a light tone as the figure crouched down beside her. That's alright, he deserved it, Naruto. Yugogo smirked slightly as the figure stiffened at the name. So you are the infamous Darth Revan, eh? How did you figure it out? Naruto sighed in resignation. 1. You just confirmed it. Yugogo chuckled as Naruto face-palmed his helmet. 2. Only one person has ever called me Nico-chan. Very good, Nico-chan. Naruto was at a loss since he didn't know how to handle the situation. Can you show me your face? Yugogo asked hesitantly. I guess it is alright, but you have to remove your mask as well, Naruto added as an afterthought, which Yugogo agreed to. He reached up and popped off his helmet at the same moment Yugogo took off her Anbu mask. They both gasped slightly. Why, Kami? Why does every female I save have to have the face of one of your angels? Is this some kind of sick, twisted joke on your part? Naruto inwardly cried anime tears. There, Naruto-kun. I'm sure Mei would be happy to have another harem sister. A foursome does sound fun, Kyubi mused in his mind, which almost caused him to faint from blood loss again. This hunk is Naruto? What happened to him? I know it's him since only he has the distinct whisker-like birthmarks on his face, and I can't sense a genjutsu. And when did he get so strong? Yugogo's head started hurting a little as too many thoughts ran through her mind and threatened to drown her. Nico-chan? Naruto's voice knocked her out of her thoughts, and she saw him looking at her with concern. You kind of zoned out there, you okay? Hi Naruto, and my real name is Yugogo, Yuzuki Yugogo. Yugogo got back up on her feet and sighed as she looked at her dead squad. How are we going to haul all these dead back? Well, we only need your squad's bodies, so Naruto glanced at her, and she caught onto his train of thought. The duo gathered the bodies of the IWA Jounin and placed them together before Naruto took one of the corpses and dragged it out. We need evidence that IWA attacked your squad, Naruto explained when he saw Yugogo's lifted eyebrow, who made an O with her mouth in realization. Would you please do the honors since I'm not attuned towards fire? I'm a wind element user, Yugogo replied. 2 wind users without a fire to fan. Guess I'll do it another way then. Naruto sighed as he brought both his hands together and pushed them apart slowly. The soil underneath the pile of bodies separated in half as the bodies dropped into the newly formed hole. He then pushed his hands back together, and the soil filled the hole in again, all the while Yugogo watched with a slack jaw. How in Kami's name did you do that? She half shouted. That's simple. Naruto looked at her seriously before smiling. My bloodline. Yugogo face faulted at the answer as Naruto chuckled since he enjoyed doing that to everyone who asked the question. He suddenly turned serious as he replaced his helmet. Yugogo, can I trust you to keep this a secret? My identity and my powers, can I trust you not to tell anyone, even the Hokage? Naruto's voice once again came out with a metallic tone to it. I don't know, why would you want to hide your abilities? And who or what is attending the academy in your place? Yugogo asked. The answer to your second question would be a reinforced Kagebushin. As to why I hide my abilities? Take a guess. If the council sees me, the host of the Kyubi, suddenly becomes so powerful, what would be the first thing in mind? Naruto chuckled darkly as realization dawned on her face. Yes, I would be executed due to suspicion of the Kyubi taking over my body or turned into a mindless weapon under Danzo team. If that's the case, then I guess I can keep quiet about it since nothing bad is going to happen even if I don't reveal it. Yugogo conceded, causing Naruto to hug her. Thanks, Yugogo-chan. I also want to thank you for protecting me for the first 5 years of my life, Naruto said as he hugged the purple-haired female Anbu, who was blushing up a storm since she could feel his muscles due to the hug. It's alright, Naruto-kun. I couldn't stand by and let an innocent child get beaten, Yugogo replied as she started to enjoy the hug. Do I look like a child now? Naruto asked cheekily as he accidentally pushed his groin into her pelvic region, earning a gasp from her. And no, Yugogo stuttered as she felt Naruto's package pressing against her nether regions. Most definitely not, judging by the length of his eno. Must not think bad thoughts. Don't want to end up like Kakashi-senpai. Somewhere in Konoha. Kakashi sneezed suddenly as he was walking alongside Guy, who was trying to get him to ignite his flames of youth by challenging him continuously with ridiculous challenges. My eternal rival, it appears that you have a cold. Come, I shall strip and lend you my most youthful clothes to keep you warm, Guy shouted as he began to remove his flak jacket and jumpsuit. Everyone in the immediate area, including Kakashi, immediately disappeared as fast as Minato using the Harassment technique, leaving Guy in the middle of the deserted street. Yosh! It appears my eternal rival has gotten even faster than me. I cannot allow him to beat me, so I shall train harder than before, Guy exclaimed to nobody in particular as he ran off in a random direction. Back with Naruto and Yugogo. Yu-chan doesn't think I'm a child anymore, Naruto shouted in joy as he accidentally grinded against her further. Apparently all the teasing sessions between him and Kyubi did pay off. T that's G great and Naruto-kun B but can why you let G go of me and now? Yugogo desperately tried to prevent herself from moaning as she felt herself getting wetter and more aroused. Naruto complied and let her go with an unseen grin. Now he knew why Kyubi found it fun to do those things to him before. Why do I suddenly feel disappointed that he let me go? Damn, I really need a release now. Maybe I should just ask him to give me another hug. I know. Bad thoughts again, must not turn into a pervert. Yugogo argued internally before she realized that the bodies of her comrades were missing. Where did my dead squad go to? Oh, I sealed them into a scroll for easier transport while you were standing there spacing off. Naruto threw a scroll at her, which she caught and stored someplace safe. When did you learn how to use Fuinjutsu? Yugogo asked. I just read a book about it, found it surprisingly easy to understand for some reason. Naruto shrugged as he walked towards her. Due to my Uzumaki bloodline, I guess, but no need for her to know that I know. Are we going back together? Yugogo picked her katana back up and cleaned it on the grass before sheathing it. You are going to report to the Hokage and then checking into the hospital to get those wounds looked at while I am going to sneak in. Naruto poked her on her forehead, which made her pout. You forgot to replace your mask, Nico-chan. Will I be seeing you around? And I mean you, not some orange-colored monstrosity of a Kagebushin. Yugogo asked as she put her mask back in place. You may not. It all depends on the circumstances. Ja any Yu-chan. Naruto waved as he walked off in another direction. Yugogo looked at his back for a moment before leaving towards Konoha. An hour later, 12 p.m. Naruto had made it back to his apartment without notice and ate a cup of instant ramen. In his defense, it was the only thing that was edible in his cabinet. I should really stock up on food products. On that thought, I might as well get a new house because this one definitely will not do. Naruto sighed as he looked at the rundown apartment. Someone like you shouldn't be staying in a dump like this, Koi. Kyubi added her input. I know, but what can I do? I don't have enough money. Apparently saving the day isn't as well paying as I thought. Naruto thought as he realized that he had yet to dispel his shadow clone. It's still in the academy, Naruto-kun. You should dismiss it when it is out of school for the day. Kyubi reminded him. Right, what do I do for the next 6 hours? Naruto sighed again, but in boredom this time. Why not go for a walk around the village? Kyubi suggested, to which he shrugged and changed out of his armor but kept the hooded cloak. Streets of Konoha. I am still bored, Naruto said to no one in particular, as he walked along the market streets of Konoha with the hood of his cloak thrown over his head to cover his features. He didn't want to use henge, transformation, since this was a ninja village and it would be easily spotted. He was so lost in the sea of boredom that he bumped into someone by accident. He turned to apologize but smiled as he realized who it was. Mikoto-chan. Naruto said softly since he didn't want any eavesdroppers on their conversation. That voice, Mikoto thought as she slowly looked up and into the darkness of the hood, and saw only a fox-like grin, but that was all she needed to see. Reven-kun. Mikoto smiled in return as she called him by his alias but frowned when she remembered her situation. Is something wrong, Mikoto-chan? Naruto asked in concern since he saw the frown. Well, come with me, this conversation isn't meant to be outdoors. Mikoto grabbed him by his hand and pulled him in the direction of her house. Naruto blinked in confusion but went with the flow.